All right, you wanna do
All
your
right.
thing, Derek? What?
Sure. Sure.
Go ahead.
Welcome to another episode of Dollar Dorks. This is episode 23. On this podcast, we aim to share video game buying and selling tips, give suggestions of games to watch out for, provide tips on how to fund your collection with your collection, and hopefully change the perception that some people have of sellers in the video game buying community. I am Derek of Two Dorks. My co-host is Chris, CWR2, and our special guest today is Johnny Iucci.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going great.
Cool.
Johnny. So yeah, I know that was a great reply,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Very clever,
Cool.
very in depth. All right. So give a little background on Johnny. He was a friend of mine. I met on Instagram. I don't know, probably 3-4 years ago now. I guess I don't know. Time
Yep.
flies.
Yeah, about
the
that.
about the time you started the podcast with Kat, right?
Yep.
The Collector Quest. She is the wife of a former co-host of mine, John. So that was kind of my little connection to you through her, or at least that's how I got introduced to you, because she was putting you up there. But man, you got an awesome collection. So that was another thing that kind of drew me
Thank
to
you.
you.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
I do all right.
Yeah, you do okay. You're very modest about it.
Well, I don't try to throw
Outback
it.
Joey
I mean, I don't try to throw it up in everyone's face, but yeah,
No,
my
you don't.
collection is it's hard to be modest about it. It's a large collection of games, but I've been doing it a long time.
Right. So now you've kind of adjusted. You've gone through a couple incarnations of the podcast. Eventually adding Tyler, and then now Stefan.
Yep.
So you're a 3-man crew.
We are indeed. We're up to 3. I don't know if it'll stay stable at like 3 or if it'll be like Stefan and I, and then like Tyler and I, or them two. That's the whole thing is I wanted to have more people consistently on in case I can't show up. So that it goes up and we have episodes because with new baby and all, it makes it more challenging to find free time.
Well, in the wrestling world, that's called like the free bird rule. You have to Google that. I know you're not a wrestling guy, but
No, not a wrestling guy. Though I've seen more wrestling in the last 6 months than I have in probably the last 15 years.
Really? So what caused that? Tyler?
Well, I have some. No. Tyler would have the opposite effect on me in wrestling.
Right.
I would move further away from it. I just have some friends who watch it, and we go over there for board games, and they'll just throw on like Royal Rumble or whatever in the background. So, I watched Royal Rumble, for instance.
Yeah.
Not like all like 95 hours or whatever it is long.
Sure. Just the main show, right?
Yeah, like we saw. No, we actually was in. Like I saw the pre-show. I didn't see the men's Royal Rumble. I saw through the women's Royal Rumble, and then I had to go because that had already been like 4 hours.
Yeah, they've had, now it's an event, like a whole day thing, and well, I mean they're really looking for content for the network, so it's kind of one of those things where like, hey, you want to tune in early? You could watch this and make it a whole fucking day, or you can kind of tune in at your leisure. I think they're trying to go like that Netflix vibe where, you watch a little bit of it and then, come back to it type of thing. Maybe. I don't know if that's their goal, but it's kind of hard to turn it off when if you're invested in it. You know what I mean? You're kind of like, let's get to the part that I like.
Yeah. I mean, when that's kind of going to happen, but again, I don't have too much experience. I think I've watched like 4 or 5 events in the last year, and I'm not like a fan. I don't know guys' names.
Right.
It's just, oh, hey, yeah. Well, except for when they bring out the oldest wrestlers in the world. I'm like, oh, aren't you one of like the Hart? Like, you were wrestling in like the 80s. What are you doing still here? And like Undertaker, like, what? How did they dig you up for this event? Like, he looked like about 100.
Pretty much. I don't think he's ever going to truly die. Somehow McMahon gets him a couple events a year. And I don't really know how that even happens, but one of the things I really dig about your podcast, I mean, besides just the overall topics and everything, is I like how you incorporate your chip tunes. And if someone's paying attention, that song actually links to the episode, and it's pretty clever how you do that.
Thank you. Yeah, when Tyler does it, it means something else for him. It's funny because Tyler, he was running the intros for a little while, and then it came back to me, and I was like, oh yeah, this is one of my favorite things to do, which Tyler would kind of do it, and he had like his own way. But I would like, sometimes it was like a deep cut and other times it was like fairly obvious. But if you go back through old episodes, there was always some special tie in there. It might have just been one line from the song, or it might have been the meaning of the lyrics. It was something. It was in there. So yeah, it was a fun thing I had. And I just want to say, by the way, this is already a better wrestling episode than our last wrestling episode, last and only wrestling episode. So I just gotta get it in on Tyler a few more times. Anyways, I'll move away from wrestling.
That's okay, because that's what I do to Derek. Because I was about to tell him he needs to do something with our intro. So
okay, step it up, Derek.
Come on, Derek.
I made the song that's at the beginning, but that's about it.
Yeah, right. Well, it's terrible. No, I'm just joking. But I'm not.
Wow.
But,
yeah, man, that's rough. He's rough.
That's all right.
Just wait till he starts making fun of you for being a Canadian.
Well, that's coming because he has like the moose flu right now or something.
What is your thing, Chris? Like, you always have to be paired with a Canadian, or what?
I don't know how that happened. Well, I don't know. I think the Canadians are the only people who will tolerate me, maybe because they're so nice.
Are they?
Guess. Probably the case.
Maybe they apologize a lot.
I don't know if that's that true.
I have watched. Okay, he probably doesn't listen, so it doesn't matter. But Michael B, the Game Genie, right? And I dig him. I think he's great. But I would watch some of his videos, especially when he was doing his collection quest, right? Complete Collection Chronicles, and he'd be like, I got this game, and I don't really like it. I'm really sorry. I just don't like. I'm like, why the fuck are you apologizing? It fucking sucks. You don't like it. Why are you apologizing? But he would apologize for everything, and I just think that's indicative of Canadians in general.
Derek? Do you feel like you apologize a lot?
I don't think I do as much as most Canadians, but it's also when you're in person, it's more of a thing. Like if I'm in a crowd walking around and I bump into someone, I'll say I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I do that.
That's good. That's polite. But
yeah, I do that
and
too.
I find that
I'm not an asshole.
Well,
but I don't necessarily think it's a bad quality. I find it actually kind of charming, to be honest. I think it's nice, Right. But they do apologize a lot. I think that's a good stereotype. I don't think I'm.
No,
that's could have far worse stereotypes.
No, there's.
I cut them down when I can. I actually think I'm being polite right now. I think it's nice.
There's worse things than being polite.
Right. Yeah.
Like almost everything.
Pretty much. Right.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm derailing your podcast.
No, you're
just
not.
keep me in line.
That's Chris's job.
No, this is my job. This is what we do. This is what I do. See, Derek has his little spreadsheet, and my job is to ignore it. A little rundown.
Cool.
Yeah, I ignore it.
He just ignores the overview, and yeah,
I just ignore it. I think it's better this way. So you have a new baby?
I do.
Right?
Yeah. Yep. New baby, little JD. He's here. He's 2 months old now. He was born a month early, so we got some bonus time with him. So yeah, it's good.
Great.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I mean, what do you say? You got a tiny little baby. The only problem with having a baby premature, aside from, all the health risks and everything that come along with that is, you wait for them to hit their developmental milestones, but all those are delayed because he's still in utero 9 months. Even though he's out, he's not, his brain is still growing and everything.
Sure.
So it's he doesn't actually hit those points. So you have children, right? Both of you?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so then that 0 to 2 month phase, they're just like potato. They don't smile or much, and if they do, it's gas or whatever. They don't, they're just your job is just to make sure they don't die.
Yeah.
In this period,
yeah.
It's they're cute and everything, but they're not so interactive yet.
I think it's probably been 15 years since Chris had a kid that was that young, but
10, but close enough.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm in that phase, but now it's that phase is actually extended. So I'm all right, I just want you to smile or something. He stares at me now, so we're seeing stuff happen. But I'm excited. I'm come on, let's you've been here, and then I look at the things 2 months you're supposed to be doing this. And I'm not really though. 2 months. I have to push everything up a month.
But as time goes by, that's gonna get less and less of a delay. You're gonna lose way less.
Oh yeah,
no time.
It'll wash out completely. But he's
absolutely.
We just had his appointment. He just had shots and everything, so he's real good. Doctor checked him out, gave him the A-OK. He's real small still. he just hit 6 pounds. So, he's a tiny baby.
Yeah, my firstborn was 6 pounds 7 ounces, but that was at 9 months. So, he's getting there.
Well, I mean, no, at when he was born, he was 4 pounds 5 ounces. So
right. No, I'm just saying, but where you're 6 pounds isn't. I mean,
No.
4 is obviously pretty light, but 6 pounds isn't. I think that might be close to the average 7 pounds. I think for a newborn.
Yeah. So when we at our 1 month at the 1 month mark, he wasn't like on any kind of chart. So he wasn't like, when they say, "Oh, my baby's an X percentile" or whatever, he wasn't even in a percentile. They're like, "He's 0. Just don't even worry about it." So now he's in percentile. So we're happy. He's like in the 5%. Anyways, if you don't have a newborn, you don't care about this shit. So whatever, it's good. I like being a dad. It's cool. Didn't expect to be one, so it was a surprise and everything. So, but the best kind of surprise. So, we've been just trying to enjoy him. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, kind of circling back to your podcast again, man. Like, I know I remember messaging you when you released it, but my favorite episodes was actually your solo episodes you did about your Super Nintendo collection and your kind of hunt for that. And it's like, man, like, I don't know what it was about. Well, I know what it was about. I feel like there was some similarities between our childhood a little bit, except my dad's drug of choice was a little different. But I felt like there was something there but it was very compelling, man. It was like, it's a great episode. So, I mean, you guys want a great standalone. It's a 2-parter, but they're short. About
they're short.
25,
like 45
minutes, something like that.
Yeah, I think they're like 35, 40, maybe even 40 each, but they're not super long. Like the podcast has gotten much longer now with 3 people. That's like the thing I've increased. Our time went from like a solid 45 to an hour to like an hour and 45. Just, but back then I wanted to be in and out in like 50 minutes. I didn't want to drag on for an hour. I still don't. Like, you'll still hear me in the podcast. Like, you can feel me getting tense at the end of episodes. Like, you can feel me like tapping my watch at the guys. Like, guys, come on. Like, like we've trapped these guys here for an hour and a half. I would rather do shorter episodes and get them out more frequently than hour and a half and
there's something to be said about that, but I'll be honest, a lot of times I kind of break up podcasts, like even the one you guys just recorded about storage and organizing and everything, your current episode. I typically I listen to it in 2 parts. So that's usually what I do. I in the morning when I'm at work, I usually have about 30-45 minutes where I can listen to something, and then I kind of like mix it up in a couple of days. But my big fear is repetitiveness. That's like my big pet peeve when I'm listening to a podcast is, fuck, you guys just talked about this. Move it forward. Not that you guys were doing that, but you know what I mean? Like that. That's my big pet peeve. No, not at all. That's mine. When I listen to certain ones, it's like, dude, you just talked about that shit. Move on. Like, someone write some shit down or something.
Yeah, I try to make sure we have a different topic to kind of keep us going, and not talking about the same thing, because I feel like there's a lot of topics we can talk about. But when that clock, and this is me really, I don't really know what people's preferences are. I don't have market study on this. I just feel the clock in my head as my internal preferences. I like a 45-minute podcast, and that's largely because that's about what my drive is. I like to get in and out of one episode and not have like 10 minutes or 30 minutes lingering at the end, and then like start a new one and then on the way home. Or if it's 2 hours, it's like either that or I want it to be 2 hours to take up both parts of the drive. So, anyways, so I do worry about repetitiveness as well. I mean, that's kind of the worst thing, but there's also like a balance on a podcast, right? As we get new viewers in, it's like, when do I go back and touch back on some of those like keystone topics?
Yes.
So I don't want to bore people who've already heard this stuff, but new collectors come in. The point of the podcast is to help collectors. When do I go back and help new collectors again and bring that back? Because it's easy to say, oh, well, just go listen to the old episodes, but not everyone does that.
Well, and you can't remember every episode either. And when I was talking about repetitive, I actually wasn't talking about repeating it in different I was actually talking on the same podcast.
Oh, okay.
I've heard people going over and over the same stuff. It's like, move on, guys. But no, I know what you're talking about, because see, we give recommendations and we also give tips. And I feel like, haven't I given you every tip I have? I don't remember. And then sometimes I'll come up with something different or a little variation on it. And I'm trying to stay, but I can't remember everything I fucking said. You know what I mean?
Well, especially like we're 100 episodes or so in now. It's
Yeah.
like we're at like I guess 110 now or whatever. But then I've got like some like individual episodes that are like marketed as like a separate thing. Those are real short. So I'm like,
your short episodes. I like those though, man. Those are good.
I like those too, and like I have to start doing more of them because Tyler unfortunately has the burden of all the editing now.
Yeah.
And that sucks for him. It's I hate editing. I'll do it when I have to, but so now he like the problem with like when with Kat, she got real busy. They were doing their house stuff. So that's when I started making these tiny little micro casts to fill in. Like, I know we don't have a podcast this week, but here's 10 minutes of something. So I actually have a few more of those planned just so I can give Tyler breathing room on the editing. Like, here's a good solid episode. Like, we do even more research now that because Tyler's also very research oriented. So like I put his research mind and mine at something. So we go and we dig up a bunch of stuff on a topic. I want to give him some breathing room. Like, you just researched for like whatever, and now you've got to edit the podcast too. Let me help you by doing like a quick 10-minute episode that I edit, put out, and then people aren't like, hey Johnny, where's the podcast? Because it's the holidays, so I kind of let that slide a little bit right now, but it's time to kind of bring that back and take some of the burden from Tyler, because that's why I'm doing the intros again, just so he doesn't have to go find music, because that's sometimes a chore, as we don't always produce our own music. So we got to go find it, steal it. But that's the worst. I mean, I actually had one guy message me.
Don't worry about it.
No, I had one guy message me about it. It's like, oh, I think this is so-and-so's. I'm like, oh, did they steal that music from someone? I'm sorry. Are they the original performing artist?
Right.
I'm like, are you complaining about this? Like, it's
right. Are they paying royalties?
Yeah. I'm like, it's like a 25-second
pumpkins or whatever.
I'm like, I pulled 25 seconds of this audio and like, don't worry about it, guys.
Honestly, that kind of falls under fair use. So
even copyright lawyers aren't really clear on how long you have to be before it's not fair use.
Yeah, so I don't worry.
Mean, some will say 15 seconds and some will say 30, but either way, I think.
And some will say it's not time dependent at all, just to confuse it even more.
Absolutely, yeah, because you have like something like the guys who will watch a movie and that was that Mystery Science 2000. Well, maybe a lot of that might have been public domain, but you know what I'm saying, like people watching something and commenting along while they're watching.
Well, like the react to videos now on YouTube, which by the way is the dumbest shit in the world, and please people stop doing that. Like, I guess kids like it. Like my nephew loves it. He loves these. I'm just like, this is the dumbest shit I've ever heard. Why would you watch somebody else?
Yeah, but that's what our parents say about us watching video game collection videos.
I'm sure. Like, I'm 100% sure. I've climbed up in my old man chair now, and I'm just like, get off my lawn, you damn kids! Your react to videos. Yeah, it's over for me. So, just go on without me, internet. I'm too old now.
Yeah, I'll just stop right here.
Yeah,
you guys keep moving on.
Yeah, I'll be the guy with the flip phone. Still, that I'm okay with that. So, anyways,
okay. No, that's great. Well, one thing I do really like about your podcast is how researched it comes off. You know what I mean? Like, I always imagined that you guys put some good research in it, or at least Tyler, whoever's doing that. But I did. Well, right, because
all of us.
Nothing against anybody. I was just saying you mentioned Tyler, but I know you, and I know you have that big. One of the episodes that I really connected with was when you were talking about certain trends and items that are selling on eBay, and that's something like I kind of noticed. So when I heard someone else saying it, I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Like I knew I wasn't the only one out there. You know what I mean? Like for instance, like your common titles like Mario, Contra, stuff like that, kind of going up in price leading into the holidays, where maybe your rarer titles will kind of dip a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely trending, and that is a thing. Some background on me, I'm an analyst. So what I do is kind of watch trends. I like to look at numbers. I like to see, I'm like, here we are here at point A. How does it look at point C and then to D? And then, now that we're at F, how does F look back to A? That's just something I naturally like to do. That's not, it's not something I was trained to do or anything. It was kind of self-training and then just an interest of mine. That's just intrinsically how I am, and which led me to kind of get a job as an analyst, because I like to look at large swaths of data and say, okay, what's really going on? Because it's super easy to take like 2 examples and be like, look at this bullshit. Yeah, see, told you I'm right. And you're like, well, like, one, what was your basis of selection? Is this recency bias? What other biases are you bringing into? How are you manipulating the data? How did you present the data? You can't just, but people, that's no one's job on the internet, like in a forum or on Instagram, to come and do. They don't need to present their credentials or their research. They're just there to say something, and that's fine. But as my counterpoint to that, fuck you, you're wrong. Excuse the language, if that's not
you cuss all you want.
So, but that's how I operate. I'm like, that's just incorrect. So I just want to say that this is incorrect, or that guy said something. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I don't like to project like instantly wrong. I say that's doesn't sound right, but maybe it is. So I go and I look, I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually totally correct. That is a factual statement. You should look at how things are going now. So
another thing that you've done a lot that's actually real beneficial that I don't think maybe some people know is like you've done a lot to help with lists, right? I mean, I know you've talked about when you first started collecting the Sega Genesis, there wasn't a lot of detailed list about everything, like something like with Outback Joey or the Sega World Championship card, and there wasn't a lot of information out there. You've done a lot to kind of help track some of these things down.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a lot of information out there. The problem isn't the information. The problem is the quality of the information, like what is correct and what is incorrect, right? And sifting through that to kind of learn. Specifically with the Genesis, I just locked down a list that said these are like the actual US released Genesis lists. And that's like, I'm not the first person to do that for Genesis. There was other people.
Right. But
yeah. I mean, I just don't want to steal someone's, like, I'm not the first guy who ever did it, but I'm definitely the guy who probably double checked it the most. Yeah. So that's where I get credit. And then like with the cardboard boxes, there was not a good list of that. No one had any idea. We had a little project on Sega Age where we started looking into that, and guys came in and they were helping, and we were taking pictures. This is like I mean, I guess Instagram existed, but not really where video game collectors were. So we were like heavy into that, and then I just carried that thing all the way to the finish line, essentially, and said, like, here's all the cardboard box games as I know them right now, which is a list I still say is a living list. If someone presents me a cardboard box I've never seen, I'm not going to be like, no way, it's fake. I'm going to look into it. Let me look into it. If you told me that in 2 years I'm going to find 2 more or something, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, I think it's like pretty close now. I think we're winding down, but who knows? And things like Instagram have really been beneficial for things like that, because like people don't know. They're just like, well, why don't you just look on Instagram? It's like, well, because there wasn't an Instagram. You don't understand. I had to like go through people's collection video or collections with like, and cameras were worse back then too. So I'm like looking at tiny JPEGs, like trying to blow them up. I'm like, I think that's a cardboard box. I can kind of tell because there's whiting on this side. Right? I was like, you just have to, like, it was some hard looking. So back then, you had to I had to find a picture, or someone had to submit me a picture before I would even believe it. And it was hard because also people, well, again, like I said, misinformation, bad information, just like, oh, these 10 boxes or games are in cardboard boxes. No, they're not. Yeah, they are. No, they're not. Okay. Show me a picture. No, I remember as a kid.
Well, and then some stuff gets spread around in YouTube videos where someone will say it and they assume that it's a fact. Like, I don't know, like the Game Chasers with Flintstones being a Blockbuster exclusive, and there's so much evidence that shows that it was sold in Brazil. And
it definitely was sold in Brazil. Yeah, that's 100% not like Like maybe it was in Blockbuster, but it wasn't only in Blockbuster, right?
Yeah, exactly. That it could have been exclusive for a limited time in the market, and maybe that wasn't sold in American stores, but it wasn't exclusive. And a lot of those, they get debunked, and people, I still hear about the left-handed power glove, yet I've yet to see one. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. The problem with
they've seen it, and it's like, okay, show me a picture of it.
Well, people are unreliable narrators. In that, like,
Right.
that's like if you look into jury selection or how, like, when you can believe a jury or not juries,
The
witnesses.
Eyewitness.
Yeah, yeah. And they, the fallacy of the perfect narrator, and why people are unreliable narrators within their own existence and as also as witnesses. It's an interesting phenomenon. So, like, I don't like to beat people up about that too bad, just because remembering shit from when you were like 5 or 10 is hard, especially if you were 5 or 10 30 years ago.
Right.
So like it's just like, no, you're not right. It's like, but I can't take 45 minutes to explain to that person what an unreliable narrator is, and why they aren't good witnesses to their own existence. That wasn't documented by any kind of video back then, except for maybe a home movie on Christmas. And then maybe not. Like, you still have to have some money to have a home video back in like 1987 or whatever, when Nintendos were being opened and filmed. Like, guys, that's not true. Let me tell you. And then it's like, no one wants to hear that for 45 minutes. So like, okay, that's cool. I'm just gonna go ahead and tell you I have this and move on with my life.
Right.
Right. So like, okay. So like I said, I'm not here trying to beat people up for it. I just I also like to research, so I don't mind putting in the time. But yeah, not like to be like, yeah, I did this and this, but yeah, I did like the Sega CD list I did with another guy, and he and I had competing lists actually. That was like how it went over on Sega 16 back when that was like a forum. I mean, it's still a forum. I don't want to like disparage those guys, but it was more about those more gamers than collectors at the time. So me and this guy, like, he and I posted like a list at the same time, and then like some moderator got his stuff in a twist because we had posted two similar topics, but I was like, this guy's isn't right, and here's like a new correct list. And then on Sega Age we teamed up and we did a list and picks and everything. So that's why we have a good like Sega CD list that people reference, and that went to like RF generation. I think if you actually go to like RF generation, it's still wrong. It still has like some of the good deal games on it and stuff, which aren't like official releases. That's it. It's just sorting through quantities of information. Not everyone is interested in that or qualified to do that, or even knows how or how to like begin to look at that. So anyways,
Well, and
I do that stuff.
Well, I notice sometimes like jealousy plays a part in it too, where you discover something, and like I ran into this recently on Atari Age. Well, at least their Facebook group, not the actual page, but their Atari Age group. I found a prototype, an Atari prototype, and I was showing it as I found it, showing it when I was in the store, and then I mean, it might have been one of their longest threads they've had in quite some time. And, there's people like, just open it already and show us the board. And I'm like, dude, I'm in a car. Like, I don't have a screwdriver. You know what I mean? Like, fuck
Yeah,
you.
well,
I don't care if you fucking believe me or not. Like, I thought this was cool when I was trying to share it with people who I thought would think it's cool too. And you get to see, man, like some people are fucking haters, man. I'm like, dude, this is like, you guys fucking suck.
People are very invested in their own ideas, right, in their own process, and especially collectors. They don't want their little ecosphere disturbed. Don't shake the snow globe, Chris. That, like,
Yeah,
we know where
absolutely.
everything is now. Don't shake it. I'm okay where I am. And then you come and you present something, and people get upset. They don't they don't have space for that.
No. I mean, and I feel like I found something that might actually be one of a kind. Not necessarily the software, but just the way it was presented. Because I believe the developer repurposed whoever did it repurposed a Pac-Man cart.
Okay.
Right? Which makes a lot of sense. They had a lot of extra ones. And that was the first thing they didn't like, is that there was a Pac-Man label underneath the label that, like a typical prototype label, right?
Right.
And at first they were bitching about that, and I was like, well, it makes sense because it's Fireworld. The same guy who worked on Fireworld, the developer, was the same guy who did Pac-Man. His name is Todd Fry. The same fucking guy. And of course, he probably used the shit that was sitting around him. Like, it all made sense to me, but they were like, no. So finally, I did get home. I turned it on. I could see right away that there was some color differences with the screens. And I opened it up, and of course, it was a prototype. And there's just fucking crickets after that. You know what I mean? A couple of people like, oh, cool. But, it's just like, Yeah, where'd all that vigor go? You know, everybody was so like, you know, getting their torches ready and wanting to fucking chase me down and shit. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, now what? You know?
Yeah. No, I'm
So
excited when people find new things. Like people should
me
people
too,
should
man.
welcome that. Like it, the hobby is still young, despite what people think about it. So, stuff is going to come up. We don't have a lot of good information. It's, there was no internet back then. Things got put in the trash. Anything on the Atari was the wild, wild west. Like they
Yep.
barely had standards. Like if you talk about why Nintendo was such a large dictatorship in the market, in the 80s, it was largely in response to the way Atari and television and all that
Yeah.
handled things. There was no standards. Like
Nope.
why did Nintendo said, yeah, I have to sell you the shell. You can only make this many games. It was to control and like create a set of standards. Is
Yep.
that right or wrong? That's a debate for another time. But it at least made sure that we didn't have like the video game crash that Atari had, because there was stuff going on like the Halloween cards. Halloween cards came out with no labels on them.
Yep.
What the hell is that? And then later some did, and like
Yep.
it's like you're like, what is going on? And no one has a good answer. So I mean,
Nope.
anything from the like people should take anything found in Atari with a large grain of salt, because that's even people who think they're huge Atari collectors and know everything. There's just so much to not know in that space that I would have to like take a hard look at anything anyone presented me, without being a doubter or a critic, just because there's so much, space to learn in there. It's not like Nintendo. Like Nintendo's like a pretty well researched, documented stuff, and we're still gonna find stuff from Nintendo in like
Right.
that space from like 85 to 90. We're still gonna find stuff, and people have been like dedicating their lives to that for like 20 years now, staring at that specific date range. So
Well, a guy I follow, and he's pretty well known, Steve Lynn. He pulls up all kinds of documents, like internal memos, and like this guy's like, his collection is like crazy because he has some shit that you wouldn't even think to collect, you know.
oh yeah,
And it's just really neat seeing stuff like that, because even like so much as like release dates are all inaccurate. Like they'll say, well, it was released in the spring of 85 or the September of 80. Like there's so much inconsistencies when the test market was and what actually came in it. And,
oh yeah. Like if
you know,
like people assume that it just went to New York, and then
right.
there's people who tell you like, oh no, it was New York and Los Angeles, and you're like,
That
okay,
doesn't,
maybe.
it's
It's like,
possible, but it probably unlikely. I would
well, yeah,
imagine it
it's
was probably another big Eastern city, but
well maybe, but Nintendo was based
yeah.
out here, right on the
So,
West
right.
Coast, so
Right.
like
Could have
maybe
been
like could have been
Washington.
in
Yeah.
up in Washington, by Redmond. Like that's what I'm saying. No one like
Right.
Nintendo's pretty well researched, and people documented stuff then, and like Nintendo controlled all of that. So an Atari, where there was developers everywhere who controlled their own stuff. Like, are we surprised when new and weird stuff comes out? Like, how could you be? You'd have to be like, oh
Right.
yeah, of course there is. And I mean,
Yeah.
if we're still gonna feel like that, it's gonna be okay with Nintendo. Then Atari, it should be like that should be like pretty regular. Like, why are you upset? So, anyways,
All
that's my
right.
thoughts on
Well,
that.
no, I think it's a great topic, man. Now we'll go on to one of Derek's deals here. We'll throw him a bone.
Yeah, sorry,
Um,
Derek.
so what's your last deal? Your last noteworthy pickup, purchase or sale?
All right, starting off with Chris. Is that if we're going
Chris,
by my
check the
list?
document, man.
Oh, sure. Right. I was just reading.
Right.
I hadn't read down to that.
I have to
Okay.
hold his hand through every step of this.
Starting with me. Okay. I got it. I haven't really sold a lot this month, or well, even in January. I hadn't been out. I
Or a
spent a
sale.
lot.
I mean, good sales.
It's raining in
Uh,
California.
Well, I mean, the swap meets are still right now. It's raining a lot, but I mean, I just been lazy. I'll just put it like that. I mean, I've sold a couple of little things. Actually, today I sold original Mustang owner's manual from like a '67 Mustang for $20. Something I picked up for a quarter at a yard sale. So that was kind of cool, but nothing big. But my best pickup of the month would probably be my only pickup until SoCal. I got an Amiibo kiosk,
Yeah.
so that was kind of cool. Yeah, local collector. He put it up and price was too good. And I was like, dude, really? Like, what's going on? And he's like, oh, I need some he's looking to get a part for his car. He's got an old IROC. It was nice. It's really cool. It was like an 80s. I think it was an 86 or 87 IROC. I was like, dude, this is badass. Like that was literally my dream car at that age when it came out. I remember my dad had a friend who took us for a ride in it. I thought it was the coolest fucking car ever, you know.
So did
And
you find the part of the swap meet for $25?
I wish I could because I could sell it to his ass. No, I just bought his kiosk off him. But and then you know what's so funny is it's just only for a collector, right? So he had cultivated a pretty good relationship with a GameStop employee, so he's gotten every kiosk from them. Like, and he did a fire sale. He sold the even a I don't even know how he got a Switch one so soon, but he had a Switch, a Wii U, various Xbox ones, you know, like PlayStation 4. Like this guy had a lot of them, and of course the one that I have now, the Amiibo one. But even the car, like this is what's funny about collectors, right? Even this car, we're talking about the car, and I believe it's an 87 IROC, and it came standard with a carburetor, and that's actually rare. Like the more research he's doing, like this could be like one of 48 IROCs that were sold to the general public. I'm like, dude, you might have one of those fucking cars that'll go out auction for like 100 grand. And he goes, yeah, I know, I'm
Take it
doing
to
more
Barrett
research.
Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, what? Only a collector would get this lucky. You know what I mean? Like someone who's put, he put in the work. You know, I'm not taking nothing from him. And I was just like, man, that's fucking lucky break, dude. And he didn't even know it originally. It was because when he was going there to get a certain parts, like he was just trying to fix up a few things. You know, they ask you,
what motor, what,
right, the general shit about it. And he's just, they kept saying like fuel injected. He goes, no, it's a carburetor. Like carburetor, like we don't even have parts for that. And so he had to keep going. And finally, he found someone. He's like, dude, like there's only like 48 of those in existence or whatever, and with the stock. I was like, wow, that's fucking badass. So anyway, I got his kiosk off him, and he did a cool thing. Like he built a shelf with it too. Well, I mean, he repurposed the shelf he got from a store, and it's pretty neat. I got all my stupid amiibos on there that I never thought I would give a shit about, but apparently I do.
So you're keeping it and not selling it?
I am going to keep it, at least for now. I've had a couple offers on it. I love it. It's fucking good, and it's got what's kind of neat is each of them have their own software. Like I could upload like the Toys R Us software to it. I'm sure there's someone out there where I can get it, but this one, it has the GameStop software on it, so it shows like at the time the GameStop exclusive amiibos were Rob and Duck Hunt and the Game & Watch guy. So those are in there. It has like and it has a little GameStop exclusive, and it's neat. It was around the time I guess where Mario Maker was out, so that's one of the videos, and Smash Brothers. I don't know, it's pretty neat, and plus it has a code in it that they must have put in where it's not talking all the fucking time, right? Like it only talks when you touch it, whereas some stores it was constantly doing that amiibo and hey, check out this fucking thing, and right.
Like
so
it attract.
Right. So this one is actually in kind of a quiet mode, which I could get it out of it because I was reading a thread on Reddit and I'm like, fuck that, you know what I mean? Then I'll never turn it on, you know what I mean? Like, and it's really cool. Like, it's very good condition. It has all the key, and there's this certain kind of mount that I forgot what it's called, but like you have those grooves and it kind of links into it like a L. I don't know. I forget what that bracket's called, and apparently I was talking to some other guy and he's like, oh, those are hard to get. And I was like, I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm happy to have it. So anyway,
it looks sweet. I hate kiosks that like chirp at you the whole time. I went on for a while about the stupid drop mix ones that were in Target everywhere.
Yes.
You're just like, I'm just trying to look at games here. I don't need to hear about drop mix, the world's best music game. No one gives a shit about drop mix. Stop yelling at me. Yeah. Stop yelling at me. Funny. If I'm interested, I'll look at it.
It was so funny because when I heard that episode, I was like, finally, I'm not the only one. Because every time I'd go to fucking Target, I'd hear that drop mix shit. And I'm like, who turned this shit on? And how do you turn it off? It just makes me want to leave this area. I don't even want to shop here.
Oh, it's they could have definitely dialed that back a little bit. It was fairly aggressive. Anyways, about your kiosk, so I think it looks good. And people who hate amiibos, I don't know why. I think they feel like they were forced to purchase them or something.
I know that's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah,
I never hated them. I just didn't think I was gonna get as much into them as I can. Now I love it because it's a pretty much a buyer's market. You can get a lot because I like them loose. I don't give a shit about the boxes. I like to use them. You know what I mean? Like use them with. I love their connectability. I mean, essentially it's DLC. So what? Like, I mean, I'd rather have DLC that comes with an actual hard.
Figure.
You know, like it's a real item. It's you know what I mean? Like it's
well, I don't
something
understand. People love the world of Nintendo figures, right? But they hate amiibos. I'm like, did you look at these? Because like, forget everything else. Like, forget that you touch it to an NFC reader and just look at it as a toy. Is it cool? Is it a cool little Mario you got? Yeah, that thing's awesome. Like, what are you doing? Like, I've got my Samus out. Like, she looks badass. What do you want from me?
Well, you know, Johnny,
people who hate it are the ones that feel obligated to buy them brand new.
Well, and
because they don't want to not get them.
The evil scalpers ruin their life, Johnny. Come on, you know the scalpers were out to get them.
Yeah, well,
it made them spend $75 on a Wii Fit trainer or whatever, or Marth or the Villager or whatever.
I want a bunch of loose ones. I have a bunch of closed ones. I have like 3 that are opened, but I would love to find like a lot of like 30, loose ones. Like then you can put them easier in your pictures and stuff. Yeah. That's like as a collector, I'm like, do I just open these? Like my wife, she got into Harry Potter pops, and like we just made the decision. We are not collectors of Harry Potter pops. We're people who enjoy Harry Potter pops. So I'm happy to buy these, but we're throwing the boxes away because like it's just double the space instantly. So, and I know people like lost their minds. They're like, oh, but that's a so-and-so store exclusive. I'm like, crunch.
Yep.
Don't care. Yeah,
I was so happy. Trash. I when I bought, because I Toys R Us had a really big sale on one Christmas, and I bought like, I don't know, maybe like 20 of when I bought my Wii U, because it was like a crazy cheap price for Wii U that year, and it was still current. And the amiibos were like buy one get one or buy 2 get 1, something like that. So I was like, fuck it. They were like, hey, we'll give you this Toys R Us card. I'm like, all right, fuck it. I just charged them all. Pretty much got the whole set at the time. And I just went home, and me and my daughter, and we opened them all. I was like, I didn't give a shit. And I felt so good. It was like, this is good. Yeah. I opened them all up and scanned them all into the damn fucking Wii U. And yeah, I didn't care. I had no regrets. I should have recorded it because I might have got some hits on YouTube or something. That could have been to break everybody's heart when I was opening up the Villager, that hard one to find. Like, it was right there on the shelf. I was like, wow, like, how fucking lucky am I? Like that Villager and Marth, I believe it was Marth, were
Marth was
super hard to find. The Wii Fit trainer was hard. It was the 3rd hardest at the time, right? Like, and
I
found Ness. Ness was also hard.
Or Ness, right? Yeah. Well,
the Wii Fit trainer was at one time. I don't know what the order was.
Wii Fit was the hard. Wii Fit trainer, I think, was in like the first wave. Right. So I think it was one of the hardest ones to get initially.
Right, and those 3 were the hard ones, and I got them all. I got it all in one swoop. I was like, well, fuck it. I got the hard ones. I might as well just get all the easy ones too. So I just bought all. I was up to date at that time, and then when I see the waves come out, I was like, I'd get the ones that I like, and then like I would put up trade posts. I was like, oh, I'm just looking for loose amiibos, and I mean, I got the gold Mega Man and Little Mac, and I mean this one dude, I don't want to say his name because I don't want him to feel bad if he hears this, but he I didn't realize what they were going for at the time. Apparently that gold Mega Man is like $75 even in today's market, and
really?
I didn't know. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't know, and he's just like, well, which ones do you need? So I just picked out the ones that I needed. I wasn't trying to be a dick about it. I was just like, well, I need that. I figured they were all worth at least $10 to $15 a piece because some of them were kind of common too. And he goes, that's fine. Take whatever ones you need. And I'm like, okay, well, then I just said all of them. Then I was like, I need all those then, except for like these 4 or 5. And he goes, that's fine. I was like, well, if you're good with the trade, I'm good with the trade. Do you need anything else? I say, nope. So I made the trade. And then, when I posted up, I got a couple of DMs for the Mega Man, and like, well, more than a couple. So I looked it up. I was like, oh, shit. Okay. Sorry, buddy. My bad.
He didn't know. You didn't know.
I didn't. Yeah, I
No.
wasn't aware.
I would have been fine with it even if you had known.
Yeah, true, but I mean, I try to really be fair when I'm trading with a fellow collector. If
True.
especially if they were to like, if there's like some sort of like we're sharing information kind of thing, like, well, I don't know what it's worth, and if I do, I'm not gonna lie. I'll be like, it's worth this, but this is what I'm willing to put out.
Yeah.
I'll be straight with people because I like to feel clean afterwards. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to fuck nobody over. I got into the IG community and everything to like make friends and to make trades and see other people's cool shit. And I feel like I'm very fair and I've never burned anybody. And anybody who says I have, let them step forward and tell your story because I know I haven't. So
Yeah. Well, it's it's easier than people think just to get a good and fair deal, especially once you prove your credential, like with other people, like
right.
You give good deals, I give good deals.
Right.
Now we're gonna give each other good deals. Like maybe that Mega Man was $75, but he probably didn't spend $75. So in his mind, he's like, I don't know, I got the game and it was like $30 or whatever. So who cares? Like
you bought a whole bunch off him too, so he might have felt good just getting rid of it finally.
Yeah, and you know what? He was happy. I mean, I think he just wanted to hook me up too, because I mean, hell, I've had people give me, fucking Zombie Nation, my friend Adam, but at the time we didn't barely even know each other, and he just, so sometimes people want to just give you shit too, and that's cool too, but so
yeah, I mean, I try to just keep on the up and up with everyone as well. Like it's like people don't understand. Like, I got this guy over. I got like, you got over on him for what, $50? Is your reputation worth $50? Because mine is worth a lot more than that. My word and the way I feel at home is worth more than $50. And if $50 matters to you that much, then maybe go do something else. Like maybe you need to look into this a little harder. So I sleep better at night knowing that I did the right thing by people.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, so what did you pick up or noteworthy deal, Johnny? Latest
Let's
deal,
see.
noteworthy.
Latest.
Did you finish off your Wii collection yet?
Nope, still haven't done it. This Might Magic 3. So,
nice.
For the TurboGrafx 16 CD/Duo, Super CD, whatever you want to call it. It's got like 12 different names. I just got that, and from a buddy of mine on Instagram, as a matter of fact, a guy I met there and has been helping me with turbo stuff, and that's Hyrule Vice. So it's a guy named Andrew. If you don't know Andrew or seen him on IG, he's great, and he helps me out. It's not wasn't an amazing deal or anything. It was market price, and he even helped. I'm like, I have written down on my list that this thing is like $200, and he's like, that's not really market price for that. You need to kind of adjust your number here. Because he was getting it from a third party, if you want this game, this is about what it goes for. And it was like $300 or something, and it's not cheap. It's not a game you find all the time. But like on eBay, the only two listed were like $400 and $500. So it's like okay, but he said he found like a pretty good deal, and he let me know about it. So and that's just part of building that community.
And sometimes you got to pay up. And that's just the way it is. You can't always get, little Samsons for $5. I mean, you have to pay up at times if you're looking to get a good piece for your collection.
Well, and I mean, that's part of the strategy of your guys' podcast, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to pay the money. Sometimes you're just going to pay market value for something. And, and how do you minimize that? How do you make that sting a little bit less? And that's what I like about what you guys do over here. And like a lot of conversations we've had, you tell me how you incrementally build money for your collection without dipping into your wallet. I think that's great. And I think it's valuable because, I mean, we all do that to a point, right? People are like, evil resellers or whatever. And you're like, man,
that's such a 2012 mentality, man.
Yeah. I think people are getting over it, but
I hope so.
And the more you collect, the more you end up with doubles and stuff you don't want, and then you become a reseller.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And it's funny because what am I supposed to do with this shit? You don't want my Super Mario 3. So what am I supposed to do with it? You don't want to, nobody wants to trade for it. The people I'm trading with aren't going to trade me Panic Restaurant for 20 Super Mario 3s.
So you put it on eBay in December and make some money off it.
Right. I got to sell these fucking things, or what am I going to do?
No, you should. If you buy it, it's yours forever.
Right. Yeah. You can't get rid of it. You're stuck with that whole lot. Keep them all. No, I don't know. And I try to give fair deals, but when I'm selling in an eBay market, I'm selling in an eBay market, and
No,
that's
just
that's
eBay.
just the way it is.
eBay is eBay, right? You
Hey,
go there. We've all agreed what eBay is, whether you hate it or you love it. If you're there, you know what the rules are. You know how the game is played. Uh, you know, if there's a best offer, then make a best offer. Unless it's already
right.
a good deal, then don't be greedy. Take the good deal.
Before someone else grabs it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it's like,
I like
what do you what are
I
you
like what you
supposed to
guys
do?
what you guys said on your last episode. I think it was last episode about eBay sniping. You're finally like, it's done. It's normal. Just stop.
Yes.
yeah. Oh, stupid snipe apps. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, I like to sit there and watch the countdown go, especially if it's an item I'm going with.
fun.
But sometimes I have a snipe set in the background because sometimes I'm slow or like an internet glitch. Like, oh man, that damn robots got me again. Like, no, that was a dude who said that. That was a real person.
Yeah.
Don't blame that. It's just a tool. Like, could you imagine if we were like, no, man, you can only undo nuts if you use your hand. You cannot use a wrench.
Wrench.
Yeah.
Right.
No drills, no
Yeah.
screwdrivers.
No, man. If you didn't do it yourself, you're an asshole. How dare you use a tool to make your job easier? Because that's the
Exactly.
argument against like a sniping tool, right? Like again, tool. It's like, okay, well, I guess if you feel that way, that's asinine. But I'm just gonna move on with my life, and you can be over here with your judgment. That's fine. I don't really care.
Well, and I think it's funny too, because those are the same people who are like, bitch, like, oh, eBay prices, and it's like, well, yeah, well, what do you do when you get shit? It's like those same people, they want the
Yeah.
bro price, but then it's like, well, if
Unless
you're
they're
not
selling it.
bros, right? And then when they sell, it's like, well, I got to get this. It's like, oh, I see.
Now you're
Which,
going for
don't get me
market value.
wrong,
Interesting.
Yeah.
right? All of a sudden, now you want the market, which, don't get me wrong. I try to hook up and I always try to deduct value, fees and ship, all the little things that you would
Yeah.
deduct, right? And sometimes I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to hook my friend up or hook up somebody who I think is a cool dude or a cool chick or whatever. But I mean, it's these fucking steadfast rules that everybody, like there's some rule book out there I'm not aware of that they want to cling to, like sniping tools or fucking this or that. I mean, yeah, it sucks when you go to a yard sale and someone hits you with an eBay price. It's like, well, then sell on eBay, motherfucker. But
I
I
feel
get
that way
that.
everywhere. I feel that
Right.
way everywhere. Like if you quote me eBay and we're face to face, it's like,
Right.
hey asshole, if I'm gonna pay eBay prices, I'm gonna go pay eBay. Why? Because I'm protected. I have options. I can look at condition. I get eBay bucks. Why would I sit here and do this? Like, unless it's hard to find. Unless I preach this to people. Unless it's truly hard to find, don't ever like if someone throws eBay in your face. Unless you need immediate gratification, just
Right.
don't. Just move on.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like and there's a lot of local events down in SoCal, and like you hit that, and there's like people I won't even walk up and talk to anymore. They're like, man, that Johnny's a real asshole. He never walks up to my booth. It's like, well, I mean, what am I supposed to? What am I gonna do? Like walk over to your booth and get annoyed and then disappointed? Like, why would I do that to myself? I'm not here
there
for
were
that.
tables I skipped too now. Yep.
Yeah, there was a particular guy who was at the last Retro Fest, and honestly, I don't even know what his name is. The first time I remember seeing him, and he had some pretty good manuals, and one of them was Kid Clown, and I thought I hit him with a pretty fair offer. I was like, you know what, 85's the highest that's it. That's where I'm at, and I'm not saying it's not worth more, but if you're saying 100, I think 85, and he's just like, the lowest I can go is 95. I'm like, all right, well then take it home then. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
fuck it. You know what I mean?
Was this
like
that big square booth down by me at the very end?
Yeah, it was. You were kind
Like
of facing it, sort of a little bit close to the wall.
By the Wada booth.
Yeah, I believe so. It's over there. It was at the tail end of where that little anyways, it was over in the corner.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No.
I don't know his name, but he was with Mort. I don't know if you know who Mort is, but
I don't. But yeah, I don't understand that.
And I'm not even blaming the guy. That's fine if that's your steadfast thing. But when I'm hearing
Put it on eBay.
Well, the funny thing was his friend, like I said, I don't really know his name. I don't know his name at all. But Mort, I was asking, was like, hey, will your friend take, because he wasn't there at the booth. I was like, will he take 85? He goes, let me text him. So we text him. He said, okay, he'll be right here. So I'm thinking, okay, we got a deal then. And the guy comes and looks at it, and then he says, I could do 95. I'm like, well, why didn't you just text him that? I've been waiting for like 5 minutes for you to fucking get here. Like, you could have just texted him that. I made an offer. That was my fucking final offer.
Are people clamoring? That's the other thing. Like, I get really frustrated with how bad sellers are. Like, you guys are really awful at your job, especially if I keep seeing you at the same event and you have all the same shit. That means you're bad at this. So maybe take stock. Like, I mean, you've heard me talk about on the podcast liquidity, the ability to enact on opportunities by having cash on hand. And if you're just sitting on all of your inventory, then what the hell are you doing? You're not making any money. All of your shit just owns you, and it owns your capital and your ability to invest in other things. Like that manual. Oh, what's the difference between $85 and $95? Especially if you probably paid $20 or less for it, right? Or got it in a lot, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like, who knows? Like if you paid 85 and you're like, I just got it like a week ago and I think it's a hot mover, so then maybe you say I can only take 95 and you sit there and wait. But if you've been sitting on that manual for 6 months and you're not putting it on eBay, you're just local. Like this is like some sidekick. What are you doing with your life? Right. Get it out. Like get it off your table as quick as you can. Like get out of there.
And you know, even further disclosure, I only had 85 left on me at the time, so it wasn't even like. Was there a sticker price on it? Was going all in. You'll see in eBay sometimes it'll be like 120, and he wanted 100.
He had 100.
No, he said he wanted 100 for it, and I wasn't even trying to negotiate with him. I just said all I have is 85, and I'm willing to pay 85. But that's it, because I'm not going to the ATM. This is my budget for the convention. I would like to have that manual. It is very rare. It is very hard to find. But that's it. I'm all in. And
like now, like there's a new eBay paradigm too that's shifting with all the eBay coupons and deals and like bonus eBay bucks. Like when you're offering me now, like I sit around and I wait, and that's kind of, and like what I'm learning is the coupons are somewhat selective. Sometimes you get targeted and sometimes you don't. But I sit around and I wait for like that 10, 8, or 15% off. Now, like when I see in a store too, I'm just like, if it's a common item, like common, like say even uncommon, like something I'm definitely going to see again this year. If you're asking 100 and I know it's on eBay pretty much today for 100, I'm like, nah. Or even like 95, I'm like, well, maybe I just wait. Like, or I'm like, like what do you want to do here? Do you want to work? And I don't even think sellers, especially in our area, our local area, are aware that shit happens. You're just like, guys, we're all buyers here. Like all these game collectors do, they just sit around and they talk shit about eBay, but they're on eBay all the time. So they know the prices, they're looking at the prices, they know how the coupons work now. This is what you're fighting against. So you're literally fighting against your own self-interest and your ability to buy more things by like your shitty pricing tactics. And like, we got some guys down here that want to be the used car salesman. Oh, hey pal. Hey, for you, what I can do right
for me.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, for me, guy I don't know, just met.
Right.
Who am I to you? Like, you don't know anything about me.
Right. I've heard that too.
Yeah. And like, and I'm kind of I'm well known around here, but I mean, I go to the local conventions. Like, you know the people in your local area. So like when you get a new guy and they're like, buddy, for you, I'm like, wow, I just got buddied and for you in one sentence. All right. Probably walking away from your booth forever. See you later. And I got money to spend. Like, that's the thing. I'm a spender. You want me. Absolutely. Like, if I come to your booth, I buy in quantity a lot. And,
and you're likely to buy and you're usually likely to buy something that most people either won't buy because of the price or they're looking for the more common shit. You know what I mean? You're looking for this niche shit, or you're looking to fill out your PlayStation, your PlayStation 1 that you've been on a run on lately. Yeah. Nobody gives a fuck about Madden or NBA Live 97 for the PS1, but when you're trying to fill out a set, and you know what I mean? Like,
I'm your garbage collector. I'm your guy. So it's like, if you got a bunch, it kills me. Like when guys are sitting there with like a stack of games, I'm like, I can do this and that. No, I really gotta. Just like on all this common trash. Like really? Like, you don't think I can walk away? I guess people are more impulsive than me. I'm like, this is all common garbage, guys. I'm just gonna walk away. And I recommend to anyone listening, if you see, like, if you're filling out sets, don't overpay for common garbage. Just walk on. Just move on. So many times, like, especially PlayStation, you're like, well, there's 7 of them over here, and that guy's got 2 of them. Like, there was a bunch of PlayStation at the last event, and it was like all common stuff. I like told one guy, I'm like, I'm gonna give you $2 each on these, if you want them. If not, I'm gonna go offer that guy over there $2 each, and he's gonna take it. So, like, you want to? Like, I wasn't driving a hard bargain. It was all trash games. Like, you want to take this trash home with you? I care, and I'm going to put it on a shelf because I'm a dummy and I collect sets. So take advantage of my handicap here and take my money.
I got OCD, bad motherfucker. Do you want to exploit it? Here, get up.
I will open my wallet for you or someone else. But I was like, I know I'm a dummy, but I'm going to argue with you until we get this price. If not, then someone else will do it. Uncommons,
and I love the negotiation process, and you see some people, they'll shut down, and I enjoy it, man. I've gotten so much out of it. It's so fun to me, even when I don't get what I want. Even though not too long ago I had someone get really angry at me for something, for the stupidest thing. But I went to a antique store, and they had a couple of wrestling figures. Here's one of them, these stupid fucking figures, right? And the lady had them for I don't know. They had $12.50 price tags on them, and I'm just like, well, will you do 20 for both? And she goes, oh no, we don't do that here. And I'm like, here, what? Like, what do you mean you don't do that here? No, we don't do that here. And I was like and I wasn't being a dick. I don't think. She kind of felt like I was. I was like, in a used environment, that's strange. She goes, nope. Nope, we don't do that. And I was like, oh, okay. And I said, oh, that's strange for a consignment store. I was like, you sure the seller won't do that? Because it wasn't even hers. They had a little tag on it.
Yeah.
She goes, this isn't a consignment store. This is a co-op. And I was like, well, I don't know the finer points of the differences between a consignment store and a co-op, but I know, and typically in consignment stores, you sell it for them and you take a piece of it. Maybe they're renting the space. That's what makes it a co-op. I don't know. Okay, fine.
I mean,
whatever.
Co-op can be a co-ownership, so it could be an ownership collective, or it can just be a rentership collective. But still,
right. And I was just like, okay, that's fine. And then I was like, okay. And she goes, well, do you want them or not? And I'm like, yeah, just go ahead, ring them up. That's fine. And I was like, I don't understand why you're so upset. She goes, well, no one's ever questioned me like that. And I was like, this store's been open for quite some time. No one's ever tried to negotiate. She goes, well, they don't question me after I say no. And I was like, I thought we were just talking. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize.
Sorry, I didn't know I couldn't ask a follow-up question.
Right. I didn't know that. It was like, your answer was final. How dare you question my no? I was like, okay, well, got it. Now I know. I will never do that again.
Yeah. Whew, shame on you, Chris.
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. And the funny thing, I don't know, it's funny. Mean Gene died a few days later, and I was like, oh shit, I wonder if this price is going to go up.
Did Mean Gene's price go up?
I don't know, but it's very clean. Little Mean Gene. This referee's kind of hard to find. What you really want, though, is the one with the blue shirt. If you find one of these with the blue shirt, it's like about $100 bill. So you come across it for a few bucks. Even if it's in poor shape, I've seen them go for like $75. I wasn't aware of it, but it's about a $35 guy right here, and Mean Gene was probably about $25 on the resale market. But I
stopped looking at other things. I can only look at video games. I don't have any more space in my brain for other prices of other things. Well, that and like Magic cards. That's it.
Well, in case one of the people are watching and they see it.
Yeah. No. You guys,
some of the other.
You guys give like some great tips. Like you were telling me about your radio and the little tape recorders and stuff that you sell. Yeah. I was like, really? I would never even thought to look at that. I would walk through a yard sale and be like, see you later.
Yeah, and you know what? And that was one of the tips I gave early on. I cringed because I was like, everybody I've told what these sell for, they never believe it. And I'm like, what am I? I'm fucking up my own market. But it's like,
that's fine. It's fine. Information.
No, I know. I don't care. Whatever. People have given me tips that, so it iron sharpening iron, right? That's what we're supposed to do.
like Canadian Retro telling me and Bill about the Guitar Hero dongles selling for like $30 to $50 each. So
yeah, and then you know what? And I bought one of those dongles for $1, and I sold that damn thing for like 35 plus shipping.
Yeah,
oh man, I have like 3 of those dongles downstairs in like a little crate.
Yeah, we'll get it on the eBay. Yeah, if you're not using it,
I think we still use them though.
That's the problem.
Like occasionally at a party would come up and you'd like plug in those stupid.
Oh, at least you can keep an eye out for them at garage sales.
Yeah.
You see them again, grab them.
I don't even go to garage sales anymore, this guy. I stopped. It's like this is my sleep time. I'm never gonna be the guy up. Like I get up at 5 o'clock to go to work, so clearly I can do it. But when Saturday comes around, I'm just like,
relax.
I'm sleeping. I want to sleep till 8 a.m.
When your kid becomes like a 4-year-old who wants to get up at 6 a.m. Oh
yeah.
You might be like, okay, it's 7 o'clock. Let's go to some garage sales.
Oh yeah. That's actually my plan. Is like when he's interested in that kind of stuff, be like, all right, now let's take you out and do some of the stuff I did. Like here's some of the things.
Yeah, that's what we started.
Yeah, but right now I'm like, I'm too interested in sleep. I'm like, oh, I'll just sleep. Sorry, guys. Because like if you go to a garage sale at like 11 o'clock, I mean, you might find something, but you're probably beat.
You're gonna find a lot of garage sale signs that no longer point to garage sales because they're closed.
Right. Well, usually for me, when I go to late yard sales, it's about talking it out of the house.
Oh, okay.
I mean? Like I've gotten a lot of stuff out of the house that way, just going up and or getting, picking people's brains. You know what I mean? And you know what? My sister has that. Let me take down your number, which is usually like 1 in 20 they'll call, but when they do. Yeah. I've gotten some really good fucking scores, so I don't know. I enjoy the hunt, but I'm also looking for fucking garage door openers and sprinkler timers and bullshit I can sell.
White noise generators.
White noise generators, man. Yeah. Those things are fucking $30, man. Yeah.
Like, just put the app on your phone. Move on with your life.
You're right, but it's a thing. I'm telling you, people. I have
one was like
phone,
vintage too.
I actually have one in my room that during this winter I use when I'm not, because in the summer a fan or other things making noise, but in the winter I use it. And then when I'm, if I'm not at home, like when I stayed at Curtis's or whatever, I used it on my phone, my white noise generator.
Yeah, I use. I mean, we have the baby, so like we play womb noise for him now. Yeah. So it's like, all right, just background womb noise. It's pretty funny because my wife had it on her phone in the car. We were just driving around. He had to go get shot, so we're driving around for like an hour today, and they both passed out in the back seat. Like, put the womb noise on in driving motion. They're both asleep. I'm like, well, that's cool. Let me just chaperone you guys around town, or chauffeur you guys around town.
Chauffeur, yeah.
Yep. Just like, oh, can I put some womb noise on for you, madam? Excellent.
I'll let you know when we arrive at your destination.
Yeah,
and then you put on one of your podcasts, and you're good.
Yeah, I didn't though, because baby didn't sleep particularly well, and I was like, no, it's cool. I'll sit here with my thoughts.
Damn thoughts.
Yeah. All right, Derek, what'd you get?
Yeah. I got so since my last episode, I did end up buying the Retron 77, the Atari 2600 emulation box. I've only used it twice now, but so far so good. I mean, considering it's my first time actually playing 2600 games. And then after that, I still had a whole bunch of money left in my gaming budget, so I picked up a PSVR bundle used. Actually, it was brand new in box, but for a really good deal with Moss and Astrobot. And then I also picked up Tetris Effect, and then I picked up Firewall 0 Hour with the aim controller bundle. All that crap ate up most of my gaming budget that I had built up from selling things. That was a good like $500 or something like that.
Have you put some use to those motion controllers? Because that's the only reason I'm keeping a couple of these around in case I ever get the VR.
I actually already have 3 of them. I just sold off 2 of them that I had before as well on top of that. And I haven't used them yet because none of the games that I picked up use it.
Those are good resales too, Johnny. They're still going for like $20 plus shipping. If you
the ones with the white ball, the white ball.
Yeah, for the PS3 Move controllers, the black ones with that little snowball on the top.
PS4 VR.
For the VR, and they're being sold brand new at the store for like $59 or whatever.
I think I have like 4 of those. I have like 4 of those.
Well, you got $80. Yeah, about $80 sitting there.
Yeah. Well, I need them for my couple of my Harry Potter games.
Right.
potions and spells. Like there's literally like one where you wave one around like it's a wand, and yeah, it's terrible. I actually just bought it's funny that you said that because I just had to buy another one because I do like this whole Harry Potter set, and I found a Canadian variant of that. So I'm like, there's one that comes with the stupid Move camera and the Move controllers. And I was like, now I'm gonna have more of these stupid things laying around. But now maybe because now I'll have like 2 extra. So maybe I'll move my 2 extra and mitigate that purchase.
Apparently, in the next year or so, they're going to be announcing the next generation of PSVR, possibly new Move controllers or something like that. So in the next year, they may be starting to drop in price. So
just get it while you can.
Yeah. I'm not in love. I have the PSVR and I don't love it so far. It's too clunky. I like it as a theory, but like strapping that thing on my head the whole time and like trying to make that kind of space all of a sudden.
I've already got the Vive, which is full room, so the PSVR is way more convenient, I find.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It takes up less room. I don't need to move around as much.
Okay, yeah, because I feel like when I strap that thing on, I feel trapped. I'm like, okay, I'm trapped in this like little space.
I love it.
And I'm like, I would just. It's like too many wires too. I feel like I'm just jacked into the Matrix. I got a big thing coming out of the back of my head. It's like I want to love this thing. And mind you, I haven't played it in probably a year. So
yeah.
I've been waiting for VR since Lawnmower Man. So I'm waiting. Like I am definitely the guy. I'm like, I just want whatever the best one is, and I know whatever the best one is right now is probably out of my price range. So
yeah, get the Vive Pro and get a wireless adapter for it. Then you'll be happy.
Okay, that's what I need to do. I hate having all the wires. I'm like, I'm getting a headache now. This is like sitting on my temples, giving me a migraine.
See, I don't have that problem with it with the PSVR at all with the cord, but I'm used to the Vive cord, which is thicker.
Okay.
But I also tether my Vive cord to the ceiling. I have like little bungees holding it to the ceiling. Yeah.
I didn't think about that. Now you'll have to send me a picture of that rig. Let me see how that looks. That's something I should do.
It's basically like those badge holders, but like the heavy duty ones for keys.
Okay.
Retractable ones. I have like 2 of them attached together and then a carabiner to hold the cord.
Oh,
and then I have one there, one there, and one there.
All right, yeah, because I do want a good VR experience. I've been waiting, like I said.
Yeah.
Since Lawnmower Man. I'm just like, please. Anyways.
Yeah.
All right. So we on to the next thing now?
Yeah, we do a quick little break.
What's up, guys? Dean Lasagna here from Round 2 Gaming, and if I sound a little frantic right now, it's because I've been listening to a fantastic podcast called Frantic Thoughts. Solo host Josh takes us on a journey with a personal flair each and every week, sharing with us the latest games he's been playing, movies he's been watching, comics he's been reading, or just things he's been doing at work, all the while breaking down today's latest and greatest gaming headlines. Look, if your weekly rotation of gaming news is delivered by the biggest names in the business, that's great. It's safe, it's clean. All I'm saying is why not get a little crazy? Why not add a few frantic thoughts to your week?
And we're back. So, tip corner, starting with me. Any buying and selling tips or ideas you want to share, experiences, anything like that? For me, it's my wife and actually we were just talking about this before recording. Is use the space you have in the first area that the person's going to see for your ads. She was using it in relevance to a Facebook Marketplace. Make sure you include what size the shirt is in your title was basically what she noticed that annoyed her. But what I was thinking was I was actually looking over P1 of the Cartridge Club's eBay ads. He was looking at posting some things on eBay, and he just hadn't used all of his space in the eBay title. Like he didn't include that it was in very good condition and it was, missing the manual, but had the bonus disc, for example. And those were all things I was able to fit in the title for him in a listing for Parasite Eve. So, I mean, that when you're scrolling through eBay makes a huge difference. If the game is complete or if it has a bonus CD is a really good thing to have in the title. Absolutely. If you've got room.
Bonus disc, especially because a lot of people don't even know when a game has a bonus disc, and if it's an uncommon bonus disc, or if it's a game that only certain copies had a bonus disc, like putting that phrase in there is like fairly key.
It also
that's how I look at auctions.
That's what I was gonna say. It also actually puts you in other search engines when you add things like the word bonus. You know what I mean? That's a great little thing. Some people overdo it with the word rare, but
Yeah.
when it's not fucking rare, it's like, I'm sorry, Super Mario Brothers isn't fucking rare, you asshole.
That's Rareness 001. You haven't heard of this?
Right.
What is this? Storage Wars?
It is.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
I've got a guy did a swap meet over that. He had a Nintendo and he was like wanting $200 for it, and it was just a Nintendo. And I was like, all right, well, you got my curiosity. Why are you asking so much? And he goes, well, because this is a 001. And I was like, okay, so you watch Storage Wars? Oh, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, all right. So I tell you what, I will bet you $200 that I can go through, and as long as I find one, I'll go through this whole swap meet, and you come with me, have your wife watch your booth. If I find another 001, I will give you $200. If I pick it up and it doesn't say that, as long as the label's there, I made sure I got all the loopholes out of the way. And it's like, and if I win, you just give me all this shit for free. Oh, no. I was like, well, what happened? You were real confident a second ago. Like, where'd that guy go? He didn't want to take that bet. I was like, all right. Anyway.
All right, Chris, you got any tips?
You know what? I'm just going to defer to Johnny this month.
No
Let's just hear what Johnny's got to say.
Okay. Well, I mean, we talked a bunch about tips. Like, we talked about haggling with people. We talked about, looking out for that eBay coupon, which I think is like
that's a
great key thing. Yeah, it's a key thing to do right now. Just watch for those, and not just the coupons for cash back off the order, but also those eBay bucks. Again, I do know people who aren't using eBay bucks. You have to at least get $5, but do that.
Yeah. And it's free, and that's a free thing to all you gotta do is just say, I want to get eBay bucks. You click a little button. It's real simple.
Yeah. So, and here's for those people who buy new games still. If you Best Buy's Gamers Club, that's like a thing of the past, but look out for Amazon Prime, and when they do your pre-order $10 off now. And then if you're just a person who shops at Target, I'm a shill for Target. That's just first off, because I'm a suburban white dude who lives in a suburban city. Clearly I'm a shill for Target. This is 100% factual. Get the red card. You don't have to get their credit card. You can get one that just attaches to your debit account, and you just get 5% off every purchase. Just a flat 5%. Gamers Club doesn't work on controllers, doesn't work on consoles. That 5% on Target does, though. So go buy your games at Best Buy, and then go buy your console at Target and get that 5% back. Take advantage of. It's so easy. Like I said, that's not a credit card. That's not a credit check. You just bring it in. And now it's on an app on your phone. If you attach it, because that was the thing I hated. I had to carry a stupid red card around that only worked in Target because I didn't want another credit card. Now it works on my app on my phone, and I can just pay via them. Just it scans that. Also, I use Cartwheel all the time because they have
Cartwheel.
Yeah. So I'm cartwheeling, and it's not for people who I don't got time to do all that. I'm not saying do a bunch of price comparison shopping. I'm just saying whatever you put in your basket, you already decided what you're buying. Once it's in there, just scan it as you're putting it on the conveyor belt, and then occasionally you'll pick up an additional 5% or 10%, especially if you buy any of their market pantry stuff. Or like I said, sometimes I got I've seen deals on Apple products. Always video games. There's always a few video game deals that are specific to Cartwheel. So keep an eye out for that. That's it's just easy. That's super easy. And then this is kind of my controversial tip for people, or the tip they won't like. And this is nothing against you. If you smoke, that's cool. Do whatever you want with your life.
Right.
But, and I'm not telling you what to do, but I've had people who oh man, they're 2 packs a day, guys. Oh man, I can't afford to have a collection like yours. I'm you could. You put as much money into cigarettes as I do into gaming almost. Not always. That's not really fair, but you could build this up we all have our vices. I spend a bunch of my shitty money on video games. So if you just did that, and then the other thing is, and these are people who are collectors, specifically if you are a collector. Also, if you smoke around your collection, it hurts the value of the collection.
Absolutely.
So you're extracting money out of your collection by doing that. So just that's my thing. Also, maybe you'll live longer. I don't care. I'm not here to be your doctor. I'm just saying, if you're looking for more ways to get money into your collection, and you're how do I fit more games into my life? Well, and that you can smoking, whatever, extract something else that is a non-essential item. That Maybe you don't need Starbucks. Maybe Folgers is fine with you if you just drink black coffee. Like that's like people who tell me like, oh, how can you spend all this money on games? I'm like, because I don't buy Starbucks. I don't do this. I don't do like I didn't spend $40 on beer this weekend or anything. And it's not like I said, I don't care if you guys do that, but just don't look at other people's collections. How can they do that? And then you're like, yep, I bought
you got to be rich, Johnny.
You're rich. Yeah. I bought a carton of cigarettes
rich.
and like 4 12-packs, and I'm good. And you're like, well, I mean, you clearly had some extra money. You just, choose your vices. Anyways,
I used to work I used to manage a fucking Chevron, and I would have some low life parents in line, and their kid is just wanting like some little trinket toy or a fucking candy bar, and they're like, no, I can't afford that. And they're like, give me 2 packs of Marlboro Lights and this fucking 40 or this 12-pack of beer or this Bud Light. I'm like, you can clearly afford all that shit, but you can't get your kid a fucking $1 candy bar. You fucking scumbag.
Yeah, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to tell anyone how to live their life. But right. if you are looking for more money to put into your games and you have these other things you can extract, there you go. There's my tip. Because I had a few friends. I like a 2-pack a day friend asked me, and I was just like, well, like you already buy games. Like it's like, yeah, but I can't get any more games. And I'm like, stop smoking. I have no idea if vaping is cheaper, but maybe look into that. Like look into something else. Like did you chew or something? I don't know. Also, chewing is super gross. Please don't. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. Ugh. That's a personal thing. Like I went through a high school where everyone chewed because I was like in Nevada. So you'd go to like try and get in a water fountain. There'd be a big old thing of dip there. You're like, gross. I don't want to drink from this water fountain anymore. So I now have an aversion to it. Just think about it. So I'm gonna shit talk everybody who chews. Fuck you guys. Fuck you for ruining my water fountains.
Exactly. So nasty.
Yeah. 20 years ago, you hurt me. Here.
A random tip, something that I noticed twice now. This is overly complicated, but when I view eBay ads sometimes or eBay listings for saved searches, it opens up in a new browser window that has no saved cookies or anything like that, and I randomly get $5 off offers saying if you use this browser window and this coupon code one-time use, you can get $5 off your purchase. Yeah, and I've done that once. I almost did it a second time, but I accidentally backed out of the browser window because I realized the listing wasn't something I wanted. And I would have had a second time where I could have just used on whatever I wanted, log into my account and buy something. So that's just something I noticed.
So this was on a desktop or a laptop or something?
This was on my phone. But it was in an app that has its own browser.
See, I've had it on desktop where that happens.
That's good.
Not in browsers, but like when I open the page, it'll like just randomly sometimes assign like a $5 into something I've bought. Like, and I'm not sure where those come from. So it's interesting if it's browser based, because I do switch through browsers quite a bit. Because like if I'm at work, I have like certain browsers that have to be open. Like, for certain pages for my work, I have to look at them in IE. Not that that's my choice or my preference, but if I'm already in IE, I might open eBay. Like, oh, I've got this thing I got to pay for. Let me just open it up. Like, why open another window? And I'll see. So maybe it's browser based. That's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing. It has to be a browser with no existing eBay cookie is what I'm guessing. Or maybe an expired session and you have never logged in there or something like that.
So when you click on it, you'll hold it to where it says open a new tab or just open another tab type of thing.
I'm thinking
it won't switch the page that you're on, it'll just open a new tab is what you're saying.
Yeah, so when it pops up, it gives you the code, you copy that code, and then whenever you add to your cart and buy, you enter that code at the checkout.
Oh, good.
But it has to be in that
happens, message me, man. I got shit in my cart.
Well, I think it's random based on the person. I don't think it's going to be easy to reproduce, but it's just something for people to watch out for. I'm even thinking of trying incognito browser tabs in Chrome and see if that can trigger it, but I think it's pretty unlikely. It's pretty random. The last one I got was the last one I got was just yesterday or the day before, but the last one before that was 3 weeks ago maybe. So maybe some kind of reoccurrence pattern there too. Anyway, something to watch for. Next is story time. So we're starting off with Chris. If you have any story or failure, lessons learned, anything like that you want to share, or just an interesting story. You don't
Let me
have
think on it. Yeah, just go ahead. Let's. I think I told a bunch of them. I might have to think. Go ahead.
Johnny, you got anything?
I don't know. I kind of shared some stories.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
don't know how far
Even the
you want me
tobacco
to.
one's fine.
Yeah. How far in the well do you want me to go? I mean, I got stories just because I live my life as like a narrative experience. Like I break my events, my daily events down into like story format. So
Well, I like here's a story I like to hear out of you. Okay, so just because I just re-listened to your Super Nintendo podcast again. So it took you, what was it, from 1999 was when you got your first game, right? June 1999, and to 2016, June of 2016. So how did you like? It must have felt pretty monumentous, right? I mean,
yeah. Well, I mean,
I know you felt like it might have been a little anticlimactic or something. You were worried it might lose the
yeah,
collector bug or whatever.
yeah. And it wasn't. It's not actually June 1990. It's like 1990. 1991 or whatever.
Well,
Like, are you talking about?
You said you bought your first game in June 1991. I'm just going by the podcast.
Yeah, 91, not 99. I thought you.
Oh, did I say 90? I meant 91.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. That was when I got Final Fantasy 2.
Got Final Fantasy 2, right? 1991. Sorry, my bad. To 2016 or 2016 June. So it was ironic that it just happened to fall in the same month. You didn't plan it that way, did you? Just kind of worked out.
Nope, just kind of like that. Wasn't. I mean, when I was getting close to the goal, I said I want to complete it by summer, but I hadn't reflected back on like, here's the dates. Like I wasn't like I'm lining it up for this masterpiece. That was just happenstance, serendipity.
So you in your sets, you're CIB, right? I mean, do you have them all?
So I mean, yes, I have them all, and I have more.
Well, CIB is okay. Yeah. We know that
they're at least carton box. Some of them are missing manuals. Like most of them have manuals, but I'm like missing a couple here. Like what's it called, Fun and Games. I'm not paying $1,000 or whatever it is just to have the manual for that shitty game. I don't care $1,000 or whatever it is for Fun and Games. I don't care $200 for the manual for Fun and Games. So it does not matter to me. I
have
someone's
one for $200, man.
You have one for $300? Oh, I passed.
Right.
Pass. Yeah, it's just not it's not that big a deal to me, but it's a complete cart and box collection.
Now, do you go as deep as trying to research the inserts that go in there and that kind of shit?
I do, but like to a point. Like I love all of my RPGs to have their maps and like all their extra little things, and it's easier than people think. Yeah. That's people like how would you know? And if you look on the tab, so like you open up your Super Nintendo box and you look at the tab, there's like a little code on there. It's in white. It says like SNS dash and then like a 4 or 5 digit code. And then that same code will be at the bottom of these maps or manuals. So then you're like, oh, these things are attached to one another. This all goes together. But all that's also conjecture, like because you can say, oh, this game is supposed to have this insert. It came with this registration card, but that can vary factory to factory. So there's variance there. It's like you think they stopped the production line because they didn't have a registration card. They're like, oh, well, we can't do it now. We're definitely not. Like maybe Nintendo would have, but Genesis definitely did not. No, they did not give a shit. They just like did whatever, especially like during like a rough holiday season. You think like the last 20, they're like, no, we can't do this. It doesn't have this one advert in it that it's got to have. It didn't have the Nintendo Power advert. Send it out. I remember getting some games as a kid and going, that's weird. This one doesn't have a Nintendo Power advert that I've now seen as an adult that does have it. So it's like, what do you want? Who cares?
Yeah, do you see a lot of big differences with, I mean, obviously the quality, but like the Majesco releases?
Oh yeah, the Majesco releases are worse, right? Like usually you get a black and white manual. Usually the label's not as glossy.
Yeah,
it's like
something
trashier.
Odd about it.
Yeah, well, usually they're like come out of Mexico too.
Yeah,
it's like they're not. It's nothing about Mexico. That's just
no. It's just the factory.
I just want to be clear.
Right,
that's where the factory.
It's not racist. It's where the factory.
But people,
right.
you know how people are today. So it's like you just got to be clear because that's the world we live in, where everyone is upset. Like, don't worry, guys. I'll give you a hug. It's fine. Like, I'll hug. And let me tell you this story. No, Mexico. It's just the factory came out of, and like those lips are just worse.
They were working with, right?
Yeah, and it's the same thing with the Genesis carts. Genesis carts, just on average, have worse labels. Like
Yeah.
like people
I
say,
got a
it's a
Mexico
difference in
release.
quality.
Well, I had got a Mexico release of the Castlevania on Genesis,
Oh, yeah.
and you could clearly look at the labels. As a matter of fact, a friend of mine questioned me because I had two of them. He goes, "Oh, that one has to be fake," and it's like, no. And I'm looking at it, it's like, nope, it came from Mexico. It's just
shittier
different.
print, like
Yeah.
the precision or like whatever the DPI was back then on the printing was just worse. So like you get blurrier text, you'd have
Yeah.
bleed and stuff. You're like, what is this garbage? Like, and then like it would just rub and wear quicker because it wasn't as thick or whatever. It would. I mean, that's just Genesis in general. It's just a worse quality, like on their labels than like say Super Nintendo games.
Right.
Nothing against the quality of the games, but like as far as the material, like
Yeah.
just like the worst material. And then Majesco kind of has that same issue going on where you find that a little bit cheaper, especially on like a lot of Turtles in Time are from Mexico. So especially in California, you'll find like a lot of those ones that just wind up here. But you're like, well, why is that? It's like, well, shipping. You know, Nintendo's you ship to a distributor, and your distributor, like, why would Nintendo ship? You know, like there's Canadian warehouses and like some in Mexico. Like you just use the best shipping routes. Just
Whatever's closest, right? You can make,
that's just
money.
Basic logistics. But people like, how do you know? It's like, I don't know because I've studied logistics a little bit. Common sense. I don't know.
Yeah.
But people will fight me on it sometimes. Anyways.
Yeah, I had a Contra label that must have been a Majesco release because it looked off, but it was legit label. And I remember this guy. It was at the first SoCal Expo, and I was just using it for trade. And the guy's like, "This is definitely fake," and it's fake. And it's like, no. I checked the board, everything's legit. And he goes, no, this label you printed the. And, he was like really adamant. I'm like, dude, you don't know me, man. If I thought it was a fake label, I would have just tore it off and wrote Contra on it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't do that. I despise fake labels. Anytime someone, especially when people put it on cheap fucking games, a local reseller, he had a fucking Tom and Jerry for the NES, and it didn't have a label, and he was gonna print a label for it. I'm like, dude, it's a fucking $5 game.
Who cares?
Just sell it. Well, nobody will buy it. Well, then throw it in a fucking garbage can, dude. Give it to a customer. Give it to somebody.
Yeah, put it in a $1 box.
Yeah, dude, what are you doing? Just give it away then, or just give it to somebody for $1. Someone will buy it. Don't pollute the fucking market, man. Like, don't do that. Like,
it's not worth it.
And now that Ally Express is just destroying shit with, I mean, man, dude, like, there's one thing that you will see a common thread, and I know you're not much of a 64 collector or at all, but
except for that whole wall of complete N64 games, except for that whole set with some variants and some of the hardest to find variants. Never mind.
Right, but now the number one thing in the ads now are authentic. It's man, that's like a number one thing that you see, and you got to look for it, man. Like, I'm finishing up my loose set, and I mean, and even like shitty one, like, why would you, Shadowgate? Why the fuck are you making a reproduction of Shadowgate? It's a $20. Yeah, but it's a $20 game. Like, dude, what are you doing? How can you make any money on this?
Because it probably cost them $4, and if they're clearing, $10, then that's double their money.
Yeah, I know, but it's like, fuck, man, who buys that? But anyway,
I mean, we counterfeit $10 bills now, right? That's like where we are in the world. $10 and $5 bills can now be counterfeited. So
yeah, but you could buy drugs with that, Johnny. Come on.
Oh well, shit, I didn't think about that before, Chris. Let me do that now.
Right.
But collecting's over. All drugs now.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, yeah, counterfeiting is kind of the worst. I mean that's in every hobby though. That's like everybody in every hobby I've ever talked to that's one of their issues. Anything else you want, like story wise, for me? Like I think I derailed you a little bit.
No, just story. Yeah. This is a story here. Yeah.
Let me answer your basic question then. Did I feel like it was diminished at all when I completed the set? No. I didn't like. Because sometimes I will complete a set and I'm just relieved to be done with it and like want to walk away from it and not buy another game.
Right. Yeah.
If you can't see in the video what I'm gesturing at, it's my N64 stuff. But Super Nintendo, like I'm still excited to buy like weird variants. We didn't say it in the thing I bought. I should have thought about it, but like I bought a Zelda because it had a slight variant on it, so I was like excited to buy that for the Super Nintendo, more Super Nintendo variants.
Heck
So yeah,
yeah.
no, I would like. It feels good to have it. I like walking in and seeing it, even though I think it displays like absolute garbage. Like I love the Super Nintendo, hands down, love it. You know this about me.
I
Love
do.
the Super
Yeah,
Nintendo. But
absolutely.
if you fucking look at it, it's just a wall of black.
Of black.
Well,
Yeah.
you're just like, all right, well, that's not super interesting to look at.
I
mean,
I
at least
didn't
it's mostly
understand why
consistent.
they went. I don't know why they went that direction. Maybe they were trying to get more uniform or something.
Yeah, I think it's uniformity.
Because that's why I really like the NES display. I mean, even their boxes, but there's just all this different colors. I mean, even taking out, I know you not a fan of third party or not third party, but unlicensed games, right? You think that's all trash, and that's fine.
I just don't care.
It is.
It's not that I think it's
it
trash.
is
It's just
trash.
I have
No,
no
it
nostalgia
is.
for it. I just don't like. There's nothing. It doesn't resonate with me at all. So like I don't. It doesn't tickle my nostalgia bone at all.
You don't want Cheetahman 2?
No, not at all. Like
I didn't even until I got it.
Like as a you know what it's like as a poor kid, you walk into Toys R Us and you're staring across that glass and you're like, man, look at all those games. Like it isn't like today where you could just walk in and pick up a game and hold it. Like you were staring across the glass and you're just like, I want those. And Cheetah Man 2 was never fucking sitting there. No, so I'm not like, I don't care about that. Who cares?
No, and you know what's funny is when I first got back into collecting in the mid to late 90s, I would see all these fucking unlicensed games at the swap meet, and all I could think is like, fuck those Bible games, man. And you know, the funny thing is my hate of Bible games actually cost me a little Samson early on because there was a religious. Well, there was a. I think I did. I'll just briefly tell you real quick. Yeah. There was a religious kid at the church next door that my brother knew. There's a church across from where I live. And he was trading me his Super Nintendo, like quality shit, like his Legend of Zelda and Super Punch-Out. And because he didn't care. He was done playing them. And he was just like, he'll take whatever I give him in return. So I was like, well, here, I don't need this NBA Jam. I got Tournament Edition now. So I gave him the regular one. And I don't know. I was sending shit his way. And he goes, well, he has NES games. And I really didn't care. And I was like, well, what does he have? And he had said something, and one of them was Little Samson, and I was like, fucking Bible games? Because they had a Bible group. Like, that was the whole point. It was some sort of Nintendo Bible group or whatever, right? Like, that the creepy pastor put together, you know, hey, come and play your Nintendo games here. And I knew he had a Bible game because I remember seeing it, like Bible Adventures or something, and I heard Little Samson, I thought, and I could have got it for nothing too. And I mean, and even then I could have just bought it at EB Games for like $5 anyway, but it doesn't matter. I just remember later on when I got back into it and I started looking at when I got deeper, you would always see Little Samson at the top of the list. And I remember when it was like 75, I'm like, fuck 75. I ain't going to pay 75 for Little Samson. That's ridiculous. And then, it just kept going up.
Yeah, no.
Okay, I got
Little Samson is my game that, too, where I was just like, I'm not buying that game, not for any like religious person. I was just like, it hit $100, and it's like when I was like starting to spend money on games, I'm like, man, $100, I'm gonna wait. This thing will be $50 again, and then it was like 200, and then all of a sudden, I think I paid like $500 or $600. I mean, complete in box for it, and I was just like, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe I spent $600 on this stupid game, and now I'm like, well, I'm glad. I guess I only spent $600. So that's my other tip for you guys, like. Bad prices right now, like depending on like you never know how it's gonna break. Like that's the thing. Like if you looked at what I bought when I bought stuff at like market price, people are like, you're a dummy, you played market price. It's like, well, now I seem like a genius. But how'd you do it? How'd you get it for $20? I'm like, well, I think on eBay back then it was like $18. So I overpaid, I guess. Who knows?
And you know what? And there was a time where I just kept seeing it like double and triple like by the week. I was
it was like 2007. It was like 2007. That shit up.
I was like, I remember like the game that I remember paying the most for at one time was I paid $20 for Metal Storm, and I remember that hurt. Like I was like, $20, like what the fuck? And the guy wouldn't budge. And I looked it up on eBay, and it was like 25 on eBay. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna like I've said before, like sometimes you kind of like pay the price of admission, right? Like I'm gonna pay this price, but I'm gonna haggle on this other shit because I knew he was really emotionally attached to that one, and I was like, I'll just get the deal on the back end, and I did. I got some other stuff a lot cheaper. He sold me Mega Man 5 for like $8 or something, so it was like, okay, I got him on the other one, but I just remember thinking, fuck, $20, my God. I turned down I remember when I was buying like the standard price was like $2 for like $2 was kind of high for NES games. Like $1 was like the swap meet going rate. But there was this one little store that I would go to and they would go for $1 or $2 there. And I didn't even know DuckTales 2 was a thing. And it was like $5. I'm like, $5? The hell? You're fucking crazy. And he's like, oh no, man, I've never seen it before. And I was like, well, you can keep it, and yeah. Whoops. Yeah, I only ended up paying $50 when I did eventually buy it, but I was mad at myself because I would have still had it for the $5.
Oh well,
bastards.
Oh well, you still made money. You're still fine. You're still doing just fine.
I got equity, right?
Yeah, you did okay.
Yeah, but anyway.
All right. So our next section is discussion topic or collection update. Johnny, since you're new here,
sure.
Do you have already said this before several times, I'm sure, but you track with spreadsheets only. That's how you track your sales and stuff, or use apps?
No, I use a combination of things. I use a tool called Collectors, which is an app and also a program on your computer that I'm very fond of to track my purchases. I don't use it to track sales because I don't track sales. All like once the baby started coming and like my computer died and I had to get new, like importing all that stuff, I became I'm like a day's worth of work behind, and I'm kind of dreading that moment. But yeah, I go into this app and I put it in. I no longer track the current price because now it's linked to price charting. Or no, it's price charting, not game value now. So it gives me like a rough estimate of what the current price is. But I used to like go research like here's what I think the current price is, and I used to have to update that like cyclically. And I'm glad I don't have to do that now. I just put here's what I paid for it. And here's the store I bought it at. Here's the date at which it was purchased. Because I like to, again, like jump around in the day to be like, oh, what stores do I shop at the most? We did one like end of year recap once on the podcast where I went through and said, okay, here's everything I bought in a year. Here's all the money I spent on a year. Here's where I shopped. Here's where I bought all my games. This is the month I bought the most games. And like over a 3-year period, it was always this month. Like I always buy games in this month, like for whatever reason, which then leads me to be like, well, what's going on in that month? Like what's trending about collecting that allowed me to purchase more? Was it a tax return? Like, so,
birthday.
Anyways, something like it wasn't my birthday. That's like the other thing. My birthday month is typically the month I spend the least on video games, weirdly. Anyway, so yes, I do track all this. Long answer, longer. I use this program, but I also have spreadsheets that I will kind of look at and maintain as I'm going through, and just like list and which like buy list. That's why I use spreadsheets for. And then this tool primary is my primary tool to track the collection. So.
Okay. Yep. Cool. All right. Well, myself, I track everything I buy and sell in a big Google spreadsheet. Currently my total budget, I'm up $155. That means my entire collection has cost me $0 and I've made $155 off of it. Nice. That's after I was up over $500, almost $600, and then I bought all that stuff I listed earlier. So that's my kind of update. Chris, you got any updates? Like your N64 is getting close.
Yeah, I since we recorded last, I knocked off 4 more titles. One of them being kind of the hardest out of the 4 would have been the International Superstar Soccer 2000, and now I'm just down to like 4 pretty easy. I mean, the hardest one is going to be, and it's not even hard. It's just like about $40-$50 game is. Sorry, I had it up on the screen. Goemon's Great Adventure. I think it's like $45 game or something like that. So I'm good on that. I knocked off some more manuals, so I'm down to 75 NES manuals to knock out that for the complete set, or at least the complete manual set. And which one of them I think I'm not even going to get. That Racer Mate, I don't even know if I can get that manual loose. I don't know. It seems like it's always with everything, so I probably will never even get that one. And I doubt I'm going to get Stadium Event manual, so I'm pretty closer to that. Eric and Duke, I combined their names together. You guys would make, if they had a baby, it would be you, Derek or Duke and Eric. They helped me with I'm going for the Telegames subset for the Atari. I know that's your favorite system, Johnny, the Atari 2600.
It's right up there with N64.
Right, I know, but it's a little bit above. Anyways, I'm going for the subset of that, and I think I'm down to like 20 carts now. I think I need, and it's not that many to begin with, but and a lot of them are basically duplicate variants, but they do have a couple of exclusives and a couple of them that have different names, which makes it seem like it's exclusive, but it's really not. They sent me some, so that was cool of them. We got a couple of more. I got lucky. Well, I don't know. It seems like they re-released it since I got it, but I felt pretty lucky because the Atari Flashback Classics for the Switch seems like it was kind of hard to get. Roller coaster and that roller coaster
tycoon. Yeah.
Right. So if you see those, grab them, especially the roller coaster, because I think they re-released the Atari in a small amount. Because I did notice there was a couple at Target the other day. There was two. Well, actually, there was one. Well, there was two if you count the
display.
There was two. Yeah. Right. There was two. So I think somebody told me that they think they re-released a small batch, so it still is very limited quantity. I think the price dipped. It was up to about $100, and I think now it's like $60 on eBay. So that's not really that much more than the 40 it sells for. But that Tycoon, I didn't see it, and now it's so stupid with the way collecting mine goes. Like I never wanted it, and now I want it.
Yeah, now you want it because because you can't have
right.
it. Yeah, Roller Coaster Tycoon. That's not a GameStop exclusive, right?
I don't think so. I think so. I hope not, because then
because I'm not sure where that one is. Like I know Atari Flashback came back a little bit. Bendy and the Ink Machine was another one that was going hot for a little while. And that was a GameStop exclusive, but obviously it's GameStop, so they re-released it. Obviously, they did another print.
Good.
And that's how video games work. You know, they're not
right. They don't
item.
break the die and throw it away. Yeah, they can read anytime they want.
They can redo that. Especially GameStop did that with Wii games when the Wii was already a dead console. So, but you know, if you believe all the financials on GameStop, they might be going away, so who knows? Maybe pick up your GameStop exclusives.
Yeah.
And I would cry 0 tears for GameStop.
Yeah, I don't like their business practices. How they pushed out the, I love Funko Land. That used to be one of my favorite stops to go to, and they took it over, and then they just got rid of everything I liked about it.
My problem with them is just we talk about the collecting aspect of games, but why we collect games is because at one point you loved games. Like you love games, you love to play them, and GameStop is not good for games. They are good for the EAs of the world, where it doesn't matter. But like small developers, and you get weird fucking games like that should never have come out, or wouldn't come out in this. They were able to thrive and be a thing because people purchased them, like small development houses, small publishers. Mm-hmm. But now we live in a world where if you don't sell X copies, if we can't guarantee X copies are going to sell on release, we can't make this game. So that limits you to big publishers. That's what's nice about like online gaming and indie games now is a lot of that stuff gets out the way. But a lot of those games would have been physical games if the model wasn't so broken. And GameStop helped break the model because, okay, cool, I can get it for $5 less used. Which cool, look, we're in a money intensive hobby. You should make money where you can and save money where you can. But at the same time, if you want to support development houses, you have to buy them new because if it's sold used 4 times, the development house gets exactly, $0. They only make money on that new sale. So all the used sales don't help them. So
Right.
I get preachy about this because
No, it's fine.
okay.
Another thing they do that fucking drives me nuts is when you go in there to buy a brand new game and they hand you a fucking game that's been opened. I'm like, well, then give it to me for the used price. Oh, well, no one's played it. I don't know that.
Yeah, well,
How can you prove that?
shit's opened. How like, and
How can I
the employees take
it?
that shit home and play it. That's the other thing. I've known GameStop employees like, oh yeah, we can take home the new games and play them. You're like, that's used. It's no longer new. Then just make it a store demo copy. Don't fucking lie.
Right, and then I told them I was like, well, I mean, dude, what if I can't give this as a gift? I'm like an asshole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Here's your brand
Oh
new
no,
game.
Oh, they'll
that's
put a
open.
sticker over the end.
Yeah,
Yeah.
GameStop told me it's new.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what, motherfucker? Collectors collect. Sorry,
Yeah.
dude. I might want to leave it sealed for a while. I might not play it. I still have a fucking sealed Shovel Knight for the Wii U that I never opened. And I probably leave it sealed because I played it on the 3DS. But it's my choice if I want to open the goddamn thing.
Yeah.
Don't open it. Don't make that choice for me before I even leave the store.
Well, and it gets real shitty with them now too, because now they under order on like, so they'll get only like 2 or 3 copies of game, and they always have to have one open, right? So if there's only 2, that means one person gets a new copy. The next person gets a used copy that they're going to pay new price for, which is garbage, and just another reason that GameStop is a fucking dumpster fire and should be flushed down the toilet.
Well, and they treat their employees like shit. There's all kinds of fucked up
Oh
things.
no, there's like almost zero redeeming qualities about GameStop. I'm pretty anti GameStop. Like it kills me when they get exclusives.
Yeah. I can't give them my money. Sometimes I do because it's to my benefit, but
I don't like it. I wish I could give it to someone else. And like back when the Xbox was going to be the Xbox One, remember it was going to be a digital console. Everyone's like, I want to be able to sell my games. I want to be able to get ripped off. I'm like, you really feel good about that $2 you're going to get back on this $50 game, so you can own it. And Xbox was like, well, we'll allow you to transfer it to like 2 people. Like we'll do family account sharing. Like we could be in a digital age where the price of games actually came down because they don't have to pay middlemen. Like, but we'll never get there as we're maintaining this like dual medium paradigm. And I know a lot of people like, I want to be able to sell my games. I get that. Sell them through eBay. Like, please, like, don't go to GameStop.
Craigslist or something.
Yeah, something. Anywhere. Offer up. Facebook Marketplace. Everywhere is better than GameStop if you're gonna sell your games. Just don't do that. Because fuck GameStop.
Well, and what sucks is they dupe so many fucking kids when the mom takes them in there and the mom ain't invested. She don't know what the fuck. It's like, I've seen it happen so many goddamn times when I'm sitting there like, yeah, this one's 15 cents. I'm like, 15 cents, motherfucker. It's on the shelf over there for $12. You know what I mean? Like, fucking asshole. But anyway. And I got Golf Story. I haven't tried it yet, but that was another Switch title I kept getting recommendations on, so I'll give that a whirl soon. And then the last thing I got was the NES controllers for the Switch, which I fucking love them. Like, I mean, it's mostly... I do. I mean, it really feels like a Nintendo controller. Well, it is. It's just a wireless Nintendo controller. But for the online, I'm only using it for... I've heard that you could use it for other stuff. I've only used it for, like, just the games on there. Like, I feel like, when I want to play, like, Zelda on the go or something, because I work a lot and sometimes I have downtime, so it's fun. It's not for everybody. I mean, I hear people like, I don't want to pay $60 for controllers. Well, okay, fair, but you're getting 2 controllers, and go buy a brand new PlayStation controller and tell me how that works out.
Yeah.
So... I think the price was actually pretty fair. I mean, could it have been cheaper? Hell yeah, it could have been $40. I don't know, but I mean, I didn't feel offended by it. I just thought, you know what? I don't care. I like it. We're collectors. We buy shit.
I know why they're.
I like it.
Yeah, I know why they're Nintendo. I just wish they were Super Nintendo controllers because I find those more comfortable.
I think that's coming.
Yeah. I'm ready for that. Like
that will look weird.
That's what I'm waiting for
on the console, though.
I think that's coming because they found programming or something, code that's talking about Super Nintendo games, and they're not going to miss that opportunity. If there's one thing that the NES Classic and the Super Nintendo Classic has shown us, I think that was their beta testing to see how people would do, and they're just going to continue on that.
Yeah.
They're going to release the games. They're going to really push their online service. And they're going to sell shit like these little controllers, and I'm all for it. Like, I'll buy those Super Nintendo controllers too.
Oh, yeah, I'm ready for those. You can have my money on those.
Yeah, I think they're awesome. But anyway, that's it. That's all I got.
Listener questions. So you can tweet at us, #DDAnswers, if you want to get our answer or your question answered on the next episode, or ask us in the Cartridge Club forums or the Dollar Dorks podcast section, or the YouTube comments if you're watching this on YouTube. So our first question is from Sean at Cartridge Bros. He says, how do you deal with the stress and anxiety of created by trying to find the right price and the right shipping options and all other decisions required when it comes to selling online? So he just recently tried to sell on eBay for the first time in a while, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, for a newcomer, it can be a little overwhelming. I can understand that. I think cloning ads helps, looking at kind of what's out there, like cloning an ad will really help you so you don't have to put in a lot of that crap to get started. Try to use one that looks like a decent seller. I wouldn't clone somebody with like 5 stars after their name. You know what I mean? Like, try to clone a good ad, so that'll help you. Definitely, like you said earlier, use a very good description. But as far as the anxiety of trying to find the right price, I mean, the prices are already there for you. It's not that hard. Click on the little tab that says completed sales and sold. Not just completed, but sold. Click on the one that says sold, and you will get a good idea of what that eBay market is.
Yeah, and look to see where your condition lies too, because people will just like look at the top and they're like, mine's at the top. And you're like, most shit lies in the middle, man. So like, find that medium price, and also doubt. Like, and how quickly do you want to sell it? Like, look at the number. Look at the number sold. Like, people always, I get really, really shitty when people are like, well, this one sold for $5. I'm like, well, there's 400 of them listed right now. 2 have sold for $5 in the last 6 months. You want $5? I'll give you $2 for this game. Like, it's not worth $5. Right. Also, that one, like, if you notice, that one had free shipping, so that game did not cut like there. Yes. So when you're looking at that stuff, this is just like little nuances that will help you be a better seller and be more like have your item more likely to be sold than the next guy.
And the sold listings are only going to show you the listings in the last 90 days as well. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you see like 5, that doesn't mean 5 in all time.
No, but I mean, it's a good, all I meant is like, it's a good jumping off point.
Yeah, for sure.
You also want to cross-reference actually because the market
currently
changes.
Available too.
Absolutely. Yeah. If you look and there's none available, you could push the market.
For sure.
Oh, it doesn't help the buyer, obviously that, but I'm giving him a seller's perspective here.
Yeah.
You can push. You can push the market in certain circumstances, but it also goes the other way. If you look and the market's saturated, and especially with somebody with a very low seller rating, then that's the time where you're going to have to either match the bottom price or try to beat it. And you don't have to beat it by a lot, but you can do it that way. So, but, with the shipping, he's in Canada, so it's a different animal up there. So that's would probably be better for you, Derek, to kind of go into the shipping angle. On the American side, I say, if free shipping, it doesn't matter. I mean, that's just a scam. Like, I mean, not a scam, but it's just like $9.95. I mean, it's a strategy. The thing is if the total value is $30, the total value is $30. So if it's $30 free shipping, or if it's 25 plus 5 shipping, it doesn't make a difference. It just makes a difference in regards to how you're presenting it. So if you want to go the free shipping strategy, that's fine, because some people will use a filter to only show free shipping, and that's fine too. But make sure, even if it's in free shipping, now don't fuck yourself. Make sure when you put it in free shipping, if you don't want to ship it priority, make sure you don't check priority, because sometimes people forget that. And now, even though it's free shipping, you've advertised it as a priority mail. So that can hurt your seller performance, and it can give them a reason to bitch at you, and you don't want to deal with unhappy customers. So also, if you're really trying to cut the corners, ship it medium mail. If the consumer knows they're buying it medium mail, then they're buying it medium. Now, if it's an expensive product, you don't want to ship it medium mail, because first off, you don't get the insurance that comes with priority mail. And
the tracking. Well, I guess they do the tracking now. They used to not do the tracking. They used to not do tracking.
They did, but now they do. So that's kind of a wash. But if you ship it out fast, if your handling time is quick, okay, mine is same day handling time normally. It doesn't have to be, but same day also means 24 hours. So if someone buys it at 2 o'clock today, I'll try to ship it out before 2 o'clock tomorrow. So that's still same day. If you ship it out fast, that cuts down on some of the, if you wait 4 days to ship your product and then ship it slow mail on top of it, yeah, you're probably going to have a dissatisfied customer, even though you're not doing anything wrong. But happy customers are really what you want. You're looking for repeat business. So, Sean, don't stress, buddy. There's a lot of information out there. It's not that hard. Obviously, shipping on your end is going to be different. And Derek, you can tell him about you ship it letter mail over there. Is that how you do?
Yeah.
So try to.
It all depends on what it is, but I mean, most of the stuff I sell is usually disc-based games in cases. So I usually end up sending that. Don't hate me, bubble mailer, because in Canada, if you don't ship, because it's a CD.
Don't ship a cardboard box in a
exactly,
mailer.
Yeah. If you don't ship CD, if you don't ship here bubble mailer, it's not going to go letter mail, which triples or quadruples the price for shipping here, just because it's a big difference between letter mail and a package. So that's for me, but in his case, this was specifically PS1 games, which the cases are pretty prone to cracking. So I would not recommend doing letter mail, and I would not recommend doing bubble mailer. I'd recommend doing it as a box, and that also happened to be a double disc case, so that's even worse. You're not going to fit it through letter mail. It does not fit through the envelope pipe.
People don't know that there's a certain that there's a width you have to make. The minute you go over that width, you reach into a different mail class.
Yeah. Especially
also, Sean, I mean, I'm sure I already saw his post on Facebook, but definitely try to work that marketplace. I mean, I don't know if it's thriving in Canada, but man, it's, you got Kijiji, you got the marketplace, I don't know if you got Let Go and OfferUp, but I mean, use all those free options for you over there and try to do local deals to cut down on, because your guys' shipping rate sucks.
It's awful right now.
And the thing is that's taking some of your guys' profit, because like I said, if it's a $30 total, it's still a $30 total. That's all it is to it. Like, if the game's worth $30 with the shipping, and the more you pay for shipping, the less you're going to make. So try to find the cheapest options as you can.
I got some stuff to chime in about the Canada stuff too. Just because I'm buying all these Harry Potter games right now, I'm looking for Canadian ESRBs on these. Which is a variant that no one gives a shit about but me. But when you realize, I'm looking at these, and all of a sudden, eBay, if you do the very bare minimum, eBay will price out your stuff for you and tell you what the shipping is. So be careful. So if you know it can go letter mail, an Xbox One case can go letter mail. I think an Xbox case can too, right? I don't think it breaches that thickness. So watch out.
A padded envelope even.
Yeah. So watch out on that, because if you don't click the right shipping, all of a sudden it'll say $17. And for me from the US, if I'm looking at something from Canada, if it's most of the time I'm just out on the shipping, I have to message sellers and be like, hey, look, I know you click this. I don't care if you ship it in an envelope on PlayStation 1 games too. Please send this to me. I don't care if it's in a bubble mailer. I don't care if that case shatters. I'll go to the Goodwill and I'll buy a CD for 25 cents and replace this case. It's not double disc that's a little bit sketchier on the thick ones, because the thickness won't go through the thing, but also those cases are harder to replace. But on a basic game, if it's not especially if it's not something I'm super worried about being damaged, do that. But yeah, you got to watch that. Watch what eBay's their easy prompts that get you through listing your item fast. That could affect your ability to sell stuff to people in the States, because they'll that shipping price. Seriously, I see Xbox One games and it's $16 Canadian, which is still 12 or whatever in the US. I'm just I'm not paying $12 shipping for an Xbox game. It's just not happening.
Yeah. So that letter mail thing is going to be more to ship to the States, because it'll be if I sent a letter to you in the mail, just a Christmas card, it would cost more to ship to you than to here. Right? I have to put basically 2 stamps on it, or whatever the equivalent is. Yeah. So it would cost more, but it's still not as much as shipping a package. Yeah.
And then for some of the other stuff, I'm gonna fight Chris a little bit. Careful on the media mail, because even if you put media mail on that, do you know who's responsible for the package? Yeah, no. Yeah. The seller is responsible. So even if you're right. eBay will side because I've gotten stuff that, one, always say if you're going to ship media mail. 2, you technically are not allowed to ship video games media mail. They are not media.
Computer software, and this is a computer.
No, they don't Well, I worked in a shipping
Like
station.
this.
I know you can
I
do
hear
it.
you.
You can make the
I know.
argument. I'm just telling you, like especially on Nintendo games, they'll be like, "That's not a computer." Like you can say, like it's a little easier on the CD, but they can reject a package. I've had the
can.
mailman come up to me and be like, "You owe $6," and I'm like, "Really? I owe $6?" And then have to go to eBay, and they're like, "I don't believe you," and I'm like, "Here's a picture of the package," and it looks sketchy as shit too, because they're like 604 owed. And you have to pay your mailman at the door sometimes. This is a thing that happens.
I hear you, and I think it's more of an LA thing where they're way stricter there, because I have another LA friend who bought a VHS tape, which is also supposed to fall under media mail, and they were demanding $20 for him at the door or something like that, and he videoed it. So I'm not saying it's always going to work.
Oh yeah,
I'm saying
no.
I'm undefeated, so
Okay.
I'm good. I know that
Okay.
I've never had a problem. I've never had a problem receiving it. I've never had a problem shipping it. I'm not saying you can never have a problem. I am saying there's an argument to be made that a console is a computer. And
I
computer
think it should all be
software,
in media.
absolutely, computer software is that. And I've gone through and read their policies, and it's saying computer software, there is no difference between, I mean, furthermore, the fucking com and Famicom means computer. So there's an argument. It's software. I'm not selling the plastic. I'm selling you the software. And that'd be my argument. But when you're in an issue where they're getting charged, I know there might be a problem. I'm not saying there's never going to be a problem. I'm saying when you're selling a cheap game, you're trying to sell a $10 game, and shipping's going to cost you $3 now because the shipping rates went up, and to ship it first class, and you're going to pay $1.60 in fees. You're not making a lot of money, so I try to get it out as cheap as I can, and I'd roll the dice. But I know in Canada they don't have a media mail option, so it doesn't even matter.
So if I ship a Vita game, just a loose Vita game in an envelope, that's $205 is the minimum I can pay for anything.
Yeah, that sucks.
So the other thing I'm going to not fight you on, but just like kind of rebut is the free shipping thing. So I think as a buyer, I love free shipping. Here's why. Because if something goes wrong, the shipping is no longer cutting out the value of my game. As you said, $30 is $30. If the total is $30, like I'm looking to pay $30. Now this game, now my refund, I don't have to fight you on that. My refund comes back. If something is damaged, the game is valued at $30.
That's something I don't have to worry on Twitter the other day.
Yeah,
I don't have to worry about. I don't like doing free shipping because of that reason. A return that includes the shipping means it would eat. Sorry, a return that doesn't include the shipping would eat into your profits more.
Yeah,
if they did a return where you didn't have to refund shipping, which happens sometimes.
You're refunding you're refunding the whole amount no matter what.
No, sometimes like if it's the sellers, if it's the buyer who says like, oh, like there's nothing wrong with it, they just like if they like a change of heart or whatever, eBay can.
But see, but see, I don't offer returns though. You have the only way you're going to get a return on.
I don't offer
buyer's remorse.
But eBay, like PayPal,
but eBay, like eBay protection doesn't matter.
eBay
they can if they want.
It's seller protection, and you next time you have a problem with that, Johnny, call me and I will fucking get on the phone with you and I will get that shit squashed.
Oh, I've never had an issue, just because my shit's
nope, that's bullshit. That's your not you, but that's the victim mentality. Yeah. Don't take that shit for an answer. When someone tries to tell me there's something wrong, prove it, motherfucker. Let's go to war. Because I know my shit's good when I ship it out. And if you're telling me there's something wrong, let's figure it out. But if you're just saying, oh, I clicked the wrong thing, that's on you. That's buyer's remorse. Nope, that doesn't cover.
Sure. But like if the person's already being shitty, the point is when they talk to that eBay rep, which sometimes they can cut you out of completely, they're like, they shipped me a broken thing. Like it doesn't matter if it was their, they just said it was broken. He knew it was broken. They said, and then it's just my word against your word. And eBay is always prone to like as a seller on eBay, you can get and on Amazon too. Like on both of those platforms, as a seller, you can be hosed pretty easily. I mean, you can fight, but then look, now you're fighting about like a $5 or $10. Yeah. So if you spend 3 hours fighting. If you spend 3 hours hunting, you would do better than just refunding that game.
And I will challenge you on that because every time I've had this situation, I'm usually off the phone in less than 10 minutes.
Okay.
I have never spent 3 hours ever with eBay. I call them up. I know what I'm going to say before I call them up. I have my argument already ready to go. And the other thing I do is I communicate with the buyer ahead of time.
Well,
so
that's
I already let them.
Some don't.
I know. Well, but these are my tips. This is the tips I would give. Get entrap them. And I don't mean do something dishonest. If you know, let's say, for instance, Johnny, I had a guy the other day claiming that I forgot the last return request, but I'll just go with the last video game request. He said the game wasn't working. And I was like, okay. And I know it worked because not only did I know it worked because I tested it, there's a picture in my damn ad of me playing it because I take the time. And I'm like, okay, so what's wrong with it? Oh, I put it in, it doesn't work. Okay, did you try cleaning your system? Because that's usually an easy bait. Yes, I cleaned the system. I cleaned the game. Oh, okay, that's cool, man. It seems like you had a cutter. How did you clean it? And they're like, I put alcohol and blah 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 blah. Okay, you're done. It's over. You cannot put alcohol on games because now you've altered the item. So I was shut down. They've said it in an email. Call eBay. Hi. And I'll even tell them, go ahead and put in the return request. And okay, boom, return request. Now I call eBay. I can't accept this return request because of this. They read the email. You're right. We're going to close this case in your favor, and it's over. And I'm off the phone in less than 10 minutes.
Okay. So on my side, I'm never trying to screw anyone over on eBay. If something, right. No. So like when it screw me over, and I'm not saying that. So what I'm saying is, if I'm the one making the return request, it's like a legit return request. It doesn't matter if you put no returns. It's like you ship that shit in a bubble mailer and it came crushed. Listen, I don't give a fuck if you put no returns on it. Why didn't you ship me this? I bought it in this condition. What you shipped me was not this condition. I don't give a shit about your return policy anymore. Like, we can either work something out where if I'm willing to take this condition downgrade, because condition matters. That's what people always say. Absolutely. Oh, they're like, oh no, like just return it. You're like, no, that's not how this works. Like, if you want me just to return it, I'll take it. But my time is worth money. So that's like, I'm not going to, but if I have to, like, usually I do like the courtesy, like engage the buyer, like, hey man, like those email things, those take time. They just like, even if it's not 3 hours, if I had to spend 45 minutes of my time, it's like, I get the eBay thing, like an eBay representative will call you back in like 35 minutes. I may not have to be on the phone, but now I'm like kind of tied down for 35 minutes while I wait to resolve this issue. Right? So, and I'm not interested in that.
Well, what you're talking about though is now, I mean, I'm talking about a seller who actually does everything properly. I would never, me personally, I would never send a cardboard in a bubble mailer. I mean, I'll send plastic games in bubble mailers because that's fine. I think that's an acceptable form. And if it gets damaged and I have given refunds. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. There's no doubt about that. I don't try to burn people. I'm really going into the whole, what we were initially kind of talking about is like some sort of buyer's remorse or dishonest buyer.
Yeah, for sure.
That I would shut down. But where you are right, as far as refunding the whole price, if it is free shipping versus whether they paid shipping or not, if you refund them, you're going to refund whatever they paid. There's not going to be any difference. So I don't.
Well, I mean,
maybe I'm not understanding what you're saying, but I mean, if you like, they paid $30, you're going to refund $30.
You can like, you've seen the refund requests come through. Like sometimes we'll ask for a refund request with the shipping or without the shipping. If they're shipping it back, if it's like a $5 item, and I've sold stuff and it broke, like legit just broke, like on me. Maybe I could have done a better job, or maybe it was just. I'm like, here's $5, keep it. Don't like, let's not waste both of our time. I'm just saying, as someone who like, and this is strictly from the buyer side, as protection for myself, if it's two items that are exactly the same price, but one is shipping outside, like 5 shipping versus free shipping, so that $30, and one of them's got $5 extracted, I'll pay the one with no shipping. Also, I get better eBay bucks on that because the shipping is not in your eBay bucks.
I didn't know that.
Now, see, that's a good angle for the buyer.
Coupons
for the buyer, right?
That's
great.
Coupons too. No, I'm coming at this. I'm I sell loosely. I'm coming. Yeah. My information comes mainly as a buyer rather than as a seller. Because I buy a lot on eBay, so I have to fight a lot.
Well, I'll give you another angle on a as a seller point of view, where I found, and this is from my own little research, when I sell something that's going to be an oddball number, like with the shipping, if it's going to be like $32.67, right?
Yeah.
If you list it as $32.67, that's just an ugly number. Nobody wants to buy a game for $32.67, but they might buy a game that's $29.99 plus shipping, which comes out to $32.67 or whatever, or $68 or whatever.
That's the mental game.
And that's where I go, where I'll flip back and forth between whether I'm using shipping or free shipping. A lot of times with video games, I'm usually just free shipping across the board. But when I can tell, you know what, I can squeeze another $3 out of this or another whatever, then I'll do that. But it's just really about manipulating numbers. And I've noticed, because some people will be like, fuck that, I only want free shipping. And then other people will be like, well, of course you pay shipping. I mean, it's really just a mentality. It just depends. Especially I notice when I'm selling things to older people. Like if I'm going to ship out something that I know is like my demo is probably like 40 to 60 or whatever, like that age group, not to say they're old, but I'm saying older.
Yeah. Let's say you're sewing scissors.
Right. You're sewing scissors. I don't think a grandma is going to expect free shipping. She'll just, whatever the price is, she's just going to pay it. Whereas if I'm selling, fucking the new Fortnite or what, you know what I mean, or whatever. Yeah, not that you can sell that, but you know what I'm saying.
The Amazon Prime generation, like people.
Right. If I'm selling it to them, they're going to be like, nah, fuck that. I want fucking 2-day shipping or same-day shipping. I want, free shipping. Yeah, I mean, it's just knowing your market, but in Canada, their shipping is a completely different thing. I'm not even going to claim to know anything about buying or selling from Canada. I bought a couple items from Canada, and I was just happy with the total price, and I said, fuck it, this price is fine. I just paid it.
Yeah, well, and that's what I was saying about the shipping, is sometimes people they don't know that the prompts will get them into like a higher shipping class than they even intend to ship, right? Just because the eBay prompts will. So you have to like sometimes tell them like, I want to buy your thing. I desperately want to give you money for this, but work with me on the shipping. If you do this and you do this, then you and I can come to an agreement.
Yeah. Also, with my books, when I buy those, I always usually will hit because sometimes they'll have it like priority mail and shit. And I just mail. No, sell that media mail. I don't mind. It's like $3. You know what I mean? Like, I'll still pay you your $20 for the book or whatever, but put it media mail. I don't mind waiting because that falls under media mail. Don't let them tell you it don't.
Yeah, it's an instruction manual. It's totally
like that. Yeah.
But like on box Super Nintendo games and things like that, when I sell those, like and we're talking about stress, how to make it easier. Like one, figure out what the price is with shipping, like you were saying. I always just do free shipping, and I always just do priority. And that way I always have a box. That way I'm not trying to find a box. The game fits easily in the box. Yeah. Like even if you don't have that much padding, like if you just put a paper towel on the top and bottom and kind of like your thing is probably gonna arrive. Like, do I want it to come like that? I prefer a little bubble or something on top, but whatever. Like if it comes in pretty good condition, I'm not going to beat you up. Or if you, even better yet, if you have a box protector, drop that in and then drop it into a priority box. Done. And that someone like me who buys a lot, if I see that you're shipping in priority mail, I know you're probably shipping in a box. That makes it more likely for me to pay you, because I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm paying for a little bit faster shipping. And as a seller, you also get a little more wiggle room. Let's say you didn't make it to the post office that day. You're still shipping a priority. It's probably going to be pretty quick, and they're probably not going to say anything. You're not going to take a hit on your star rating on shipping.
Yeah, absolutely. Right.
So that, as far as like reducing stress, that's how I do it, because I don't have time for that. Like here, I'm putting in this priority mailbox, and I, like all the way up through like medium or large, whatever that is. If it fit, I'm only selling it if it fits in those boxes. I'm not scouting my own boxes. I'm not trying to weigh things and figure it out. Yeah. It's already preset. I'm like, boom, done, easy.
You know what? And I tell you what, I love medium flat rate boxes, because especially now that they've changed the weight restrictions, where it's really penalizing you more for the heavier it is. Those, if you could fit in a medium flat rate, man, I love it. Yeah, because I mean it'll go for like $20 to $12. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like an $11.47 or whatever it is. Or I think it went up to 12, but yeah. And also if you're shipping,
it was a little less, but I think it's gone up to. I just hit one out the other day. It was like $12.04 or some bullshit with the eBay discount.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Use the eBay discount. Don't be like, I'm just going to go to the post office and print your label out eBay. You save like 10% on your shipping doing that.
And I tell people, it's like, well, I don't have a printer. Go to Walmart and buy a fucking $30 printer. A lot of times you'll catch them on bundles and they'll come with paper even.
Yeah.
And granted, the first ink is usually not the maximum ink you get when you go back and have to buy new ink, but it will pay for itself.
Yeah.
And if you're, I mean, unless you're planning on, look, this is a one-time thing, well, then it ain't gonna pay for it.
Yeah.
But
no.
if you plan on consistently selling, maybe not every day or something, but a couple items a month, 2 or 3 items a month, it'll pay for itself.
Yeah, back in the day when I was like hitting that harder, when I was working less and like had to run, more side sales, I had it down to like the sheet with the dual labels. So it had 2 labels. So I was printing it on a stickable label. So it's like on that media flat rate and gone. I didn't have to think about anything. It was like stickers, no tape, just out the door.
Yeah, those Dino printers are really nice when they it costs a little more, but those are really nice because a lot of them have those sticker labels. You put them on.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can get the just packs of that will go through your regular printer and just like too. So if you don't have that, I'm like, you buy one of those packs and like if you're gonna do it like with any kind of consistency, just having that. Again, it's about reducing stress and like going into easy mode. That's not the way to maximize your profit, right? We're not talking about. But it is the way to minimize your stress, right? Minimize
and
also
stress. your time. I mean, I spent a lot of time cutting that paper to fold that fucking label and putting a little piece of tape. I mean, it only usually a couple of minutes, but I mean, if I added it all up at some point.
Over time, So, anyways, those were my fights and my counter tips.
No, that's good. Hey, great.
All right.
Eric,
so our next question. No, well, it's different in Canada. I don't use the pre-made labels, but Bill does. I don't know how it works for him for sure, but we're not going to dive into it because most of our people aren't Canadian sellers, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so Scott at VG Collectaholics has 3 questions. What set took you the longest to go from damn near complete to complete? I think that probably applies mostly to
Johnny.
To Johnny here.
Yeah.
Man,
he adds himself. He says,
and
what game was it that stood in your way? 3DOs, what took it for the longest for him? Missing 2 titles for about 4 years. Woody Woodpecker Volume 2 and Dino Park Tycoon before he finally got them on the same day from the same guy.
Yeah. Well, that's how 3DO works. When one guy gets out, one guy gets in. You're just replacing that guy.
Sounds like a curse.
It is kind of, if you're collecting 3DO and VG Collectaholic, he's a good dude, but that's a mistake. Him and Archon, both of them. I just kid. They like whatever. You like 3DO, you like 3DO, and you do what you do. You. Probably Sega Saturn for me because that was really the first set. I said, hey, I think I'm gonna do a set. So there wasn't anything that was a title in my way necessarily. You could say Netlink edition of Daytona was like a little bit of a thing, but because I wasn't geared up. I didn't have a system to do it yet. I was just kind of like picking up games and I was still new to collecting. I was just like, I think I'll complete this set because I think I have so many of them already and they didn't make that many. So it just took years, like probably 7 years or whatever. I was just like plugging away at it slowly, but I bought like a large bundle. So his condition there is like damn near complete. So I was like pretty well on my way, like right out of the gate. And then just took me some time. I also wasn't going hard at it. I was enjoying the process. So it wasn't that there was a barrier or anything. It was just that I was just doing it like kind of locally and slowly.
Was there a set that you felt like that on where you like took a long time to get the last 2 or 3?
It feels that way for TurboGrafx CD right now. That Might and Magic. Now I need one more game. And it's not that it's not on eBay. It's just that I won't pay the eBay price because it's above even what market price is. People have priced insane. So I feel like I've been staring at it for a year now, waiting for this game to like pop up. And one popped up and I just didn't have the extra like $700 on me right then. And by the time this was a quick turnaround, like a day later, and then it was gone. So now like market price on it is the game is Terraforming. People have it listed at like $2,000, which is stupid. Or $2,600. You're not getting $2,600. If we get to that world, that's insane, and I'm just not going to play. So count me out on that game if that's where we get to on it. But market price is probably around $900 to $1,000 right now, and like I would just pay that right now. I would pay someone I would pay you like $950. I think is about market. So I would pay you $1,000 or $1,500 if I could just stop looking at it, because now it's like now it's eating at my time, and I'm just like my time.
How much time have you lost?
Yeah, exactly. I'm starting to do math. I'm like, well, I could have been doing anything else with that rather than checking this search again. My favorite thing to do is to delete a saved search on eBay. Like,
nice.
See you later, asshole.
I do.
Yeah, never doing you again. Bye.
That is very satisfying.
Do you use Stuff Alert, by the way?
I don't know what Stuff Alert is.
It's an eBay notifications thing, a watch list that emails you when new ads go up. I actually think it might have been VG Collectaholic who told me about it.
I use like their save search notification.
It's not that. It's not always accurate.
Stuff Alert's much more powerful.
Okay,
just try it out if you have time sometime.
Oh, when I have time, you mean after I go make my wife dinner after this podcast?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
I don't want to force him to do it now. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's leaving.
Excuse me.
Going to Chris, and he's just losing interest in the podcast.
Yeah. Guys, I agree.
Another question, basically for Johnny. As a new parent, congratulations, by the way, he says. Do you plan to toddler-proof your collection?
Well, I have an office for it, so yeah, it's all in the office, and that door locks.
Shut the door.
Shut the door. I will probably upgrade the lock so it's a key lock, so when I'm not home, they can't wander in there. The rest of the house, because we have like collectible statues, because we're dummies and stuff like that. We live in California. We like porcelain things. We already bought like cases, like from IKEA, like Besta stuff with like glass doors. So my hot tip on that is don't put the stupid handles on. Like there's not a hole there. Like this Besta stuff. Like I use pressure sensitive handles. Like I have a rack of 3, right? And it's like a glass door, glass door, glass door. The only way you can open it is if you push the top corner, which is at like the 7-foot mark, the top upper right hand corner, to open the top one, and then the rest you can pull open from that. So yeah, I've done some things to toddler proof my house. That wasn't for my baby. That was because our friends all had a bunch of kids, and I was like, well, and we watched them, and we don't want to have a problem with having kids over. We want to encourage our friends' kids to come over, and we want to let them see things, but like we'd rather you look with your eyes, not your hands.
So you know from experience, around 2 years old is when they start opening doors more themselves, or reaching and turning the handle. Just before 2 years.
Yeah, so that's why all these things don't have handles on them. It's just like pressure sensitive, way taller than you are. And now I've got it like pretty well tested for kids who come over as guests. No incidents on several occurrences now. But I'm afraid, my baby, as he lives here, will figure shit out. And if he's anything like me, I was a climber as a kid. I would like stack stuff on chairs and just be like, all right, I saw how that was done. I'm getting in there. That was how I was. So I'm afraid he might have inherited that. I hope he's not like me.
I was a climber, and my son and my daughter are both climbers. So you're probably screwed. Yeah. All right. Next question from Scott is: are you going to too many games?
Is that in Arizona or what? When is
no,
that?
it's Philly.
That's Philly. Nope.
And what about you, Chris?
I'd like to. I'd like to.
We're planning on doing.
Yeah, I know they're doing the C3 thing. I like to go hang out. If nothing else, to see Duke.
Yeah.
Not you. If you're going, I'll definitely.
I was planning on going, but I don't think I'm going to. This year's mine and my wife's. Yeah, now you might go.
I might go.
This year's mine and my wife's 10-year anniversary, so we might.
Congrats.
Save the money. Thanks. Save the money and go somewhere bigger.
Yeah. So my wife and I went to Europe last year for our 10-year anniversary. So.
Okay. Yeah, my wife's from Portugal. Well, her family's from Portugal, so we considered going there, or who knows, maybe somewhere tropical. We did that for our honeymoon and our 1-year anniversary, so it'd be nice to do something like that again. But I also hate the sun, so.
Yeah, me too. I only go to Orlando for theme parks, but that's about as much of the sun as you can drag me into. And I go in the winter.
It's too much sun for me.
You go in the winter. And, Florida's like only a balmy 80 degrees.
Yeah, that's too much sun for me. All right. Next question from Eric at Tesseract Unfold on Twitter as well. How do you feel about haggling prices at used game stores? They're more they're more likely to be flexible, but sometimes I feel a little guilty talking down someone who could likely use every sales dollar they can get. Do you ever do it?
I do it, and I don't feel guilty. I mean, I think as long as you're doing it in a respectful way, if they can do it, they'll do it. And if they can't, they can't. And they know what their profit margin is. Yeah. And if I don't buy anything, that's not going to help their sales. So anything helps. I guess the only thing would be if there was any guilt involved, which I even wouldn't feel guilty about this, but if you're buying it just to flip it, I can understand maybe a little bit of guilt there. But if they're willing to take the price I offer, I think that's fair. I just, just keep in mind that they're trying to run a business, and if they don't make any sales, they're not going to be open. So something's better than nothing,
Yeah, but don't be, and if they say no, then that's fine too.
True.
Like, if they, no, I don't have any problem with it. It also depends too. Depends what our relationship is too. Like, cause I have friends who have stores, and I tell them like, hey, I'm approaching you. Like, we're not friends right now. This is me just trying to conduct business, and you should enact the same policy on me right now. You're just trying to handle it. Like, if I offer you and you say no, I'm not gonna hold it against you when we're done talking here. It's like, you're trying to conduct business, I'm trying to conduct business. And if the answer is no and we can't meet, that's fine. But like you said, if you're trying to flip it, that's a little like, don't do that to your friends. Like, if your friend had something drastically underpriced, don't do that to, like, if it's your buddy's store or something, don't do that to them. That's
and I can tell, from what I know of Eric, that wouldn't be his. I
was just trying to give a broader
answer. For sure. For another point of view, I agree.
And you see if you see an item and you're like, if I can get it for this, I can make this, and you offer and they take it, I don't see a problem with that. I can understand why there might be some guilt there, but I wouldn't, because if they weren't willing to take it, they wouldn't take it. But if you're exploiting a friendship, that's kind of shitty.
Yeah.
Well, and also help your friend.
And if you are going to flip it and it's already at a good price, like, then just take the deal. Just take and then like Chris has said, then maybe work on something else. Like, I'll take this at full price, and like, can you do something else? I'm getting these. And also, like, when you are in stores like that, part of that haggling process, if they know, especially if you're buying a bunch of stuff, then you create that's how I became friends with some people who had stores. Like, then you create a relationship, right? And then it's not like you can't expect serious bro pricing, because they're trying to make $1 too. But you can form a relationship that's good for both of you. I got this at a pretty good price, better than eBay, or it's hard to find, and I was told first it was there, so I was willing to pay market value. Like, those kind of relationships work out. So haggle, yes, but also, like, relationship building is better than getting $1 off a game.
Yep.
So.
Well, I think like Steve, Steve from Lost Levels.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's probably one of the things that comes to mind when he sees me. He knows I'm going to try to haggle with him, and he enjoys it. But he's also straight with me when he's like, I put this price at a really good price, and that's that. And I respect that too. I respect his straightforwardness, and I think it's good. And he turned the tables on me because he came to the little swap meet that we were at, and then he haggled me. So it kind of went the other way.
Well, yeah, and I mean,
cool,
So, and some store, like, you can also gauge by the store. Like, we have Game Dude down here.
Yeah.
There's no haggling when you walk into Game Dude.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like a haggle.
That's just not a place. Like, some places, like GameStop, they have used stuff. Some places, you can't haggle. Other places, like, you walk in, you know what the environment is. And, I'm not going to say that everyone prices their stuff for the haggle, but they know it's part of the deal, right? They know, I work in this industry, this is going to happen a little bit. And and whatever their stance is, they might have a hard line, I don't do it. And like, you can respect that. But a lot of people are like Steve, they're just receptive to, like, okay, we're going to talk about what this price is. Okay, I can do this here. I can do this here. I can't do anything on this. And I can only do these two if you take this one. So what do you think of that? Like, okay, sure. That sounds fair.
One of the first times I met Steve, he separated an Arkanoid controller from the bundle he had and gave me a great price on it. And I mean, I think he sold to me for like, I don't know, like $60, $55 or something like that out the door. And I mean, it was one of the cleanest ones I've ever seen, and they're not easy to find, and it works perfect, and he didn't have to do it. And I mean, that to me, that like he paid the price of admission my way, because now
Mm-hmm.
I'm more willing to buy from him. You know what I mean? Because that kind of goes both ways. Sometimes as a seller, if you know you're creating some repeat business, you know, sometimes it's hard to tell when it's your first time you've ever met a person. But you, if you're in the business long enough, you know who's coming back, and you know the collectors from the people who are just going to be a one-time sale. So there's
you can usually tell it by what they're buying. If you're buying an Arcanite controller and you want it to loose, then you probably already have it. And the type of
right. But I also mentioned like, hey, I know you from Instagram, and I kind of made a connection that way too. But
yeah, like anyway. That's what I'm saying. Like, relationship building is the best deal you can make with anybody. Like, so do that. That pays dividends all over the place. So like, people are like, oh, well, why'd you give such a good deal on that? I knew what I paid, and I'm also paying part of that relationship price. Like, I want a relationship with these people. If I can get that, I know that, like, as long as they're not scumbags, and like, obviously you fill that out, then like, that's just going to pay you so much more down the line. So like, people don't, like, some people don't get it though. They won't, they want to stonewall. They think they're ballers, and you're like, okay, well, good luck.
I mean, I'll tell you, man, I value the friendships and the connections that I've made, like the personal connections, way more than I do any game I've ever bought on Instagram or something like that. You know, they're just more valuable to me, because, I mean, at some point, all this stuff won't mean shit. And if I have some friendships that last from it, then it's way more valuable.
Absolutely.
You know, so.
All right. Next question, which is, we've already talked about it. We don't need to dive into it much, but I have to read it because Travis at Trav Plays Games said, someone please ask Johnny Iucci how much he loves bubble mailers.
I love them so much. No, I fucking hate a bubble mailer. It's the worst. It like, are you an asshole? Especially if I ask you not to send in a bubble. Like, this is like specifically for cardboard box games. I don't love it in plastic disc games, but it's not as big a deal because that's like replaceable. But a cardboard box, like, once it's damaged, it's never coming back out of that condition. Like, it's you killed something. We had something beautiful and you ruined it. And fuck you for being cheap and lazy. Like, I understand why people are fascinated. That's, again, part of why I advocate for the priority mailboxes. Like, that's the part that kills me the most. A lot of times shit goes in a bubble mailer and they're like, they just jammed it in a bubble mailer and they're paying the same amount that they could have put it in a box for. Like, for a priority mailbox, just put it in a box. Put it in a box.
Absolutely.
There you go.
All right. Another one from Josh at Creepleet. That's Creep1337. What collection advice would you give yourself 10 years ago?
Well, I'll say, because I know where I am now, I would have started with the rare games. But that's it. But,
and you know where the prices are now too, right?
That's what. But I know where. But I know the stuff that I know how I'm collecting now. Then I didn't think I was going to collect that way. I thought I was just buying the games that I wanted, that I never had. Well, I don't know if 10 years is accurate. I think that's a little longer for me. But let's just pretend that's when I started 10 years ago. I would have started with the rarer games, the harder to find stuff. If you're going to set collect, I think the ultimate thing would be don't set collect. just don't collect for sets. Just don't do it.
That's excellent advice. Also, this is the advice I give everyone. I mean, I give my joke advice is always, what would you tell yourself? Start 10, like I would tell myself 10 years ago to start 10 years before that. Like, always start before. Like, the real advice is have a plan. Just know what you're like.
Yeah, you were saying this on one of your last podcasts.
Yeah, you don't. I mean, I stress this like a lot. So this is that repeat I do constantly. Just have a goal.
This is a different podcast.
Yeah. Have a goal, have a plan, what you want to do. You don't need to buy every shitty thing you see. Like, when you first start collecting, it's like a new relationship. Everything's amazing. But that stack of shitty sports Xbox games, you paid $10 for it. That $10 is better spent somewhere else. Save that money. Don't be a hoarder.
No. Well, that's the thing. If you're not set collecting, don't buy garbage titles. Don't buy shit you will never play, because that's going to be the shit that's taking up space. It's going to be the shit that you don't want. That's going to be the stuff you try to purge, which nobody's going to buy. You know what I mean? You're never going to get back that initial investment. Most likely, you're going to overpay for it when you buy it. don't buy it. Just don't buy it. Like Tyler, him saying how he sees Reddit posts where people are like, look at this fucking Madden 97 that I bought, and all fucking pumped up and shit. And it's like, and you overpaid for it and nobody gives a fuck and you're never going to play it. And it doesn't matter. The people, sometimes people get so, sometimes people are so excited just to find something. And sometimes I have to reel myself back in because I haven't seen loose NES games in a long time. And I'm thinking, well, I feel like I almost have to rescue them just to buy them so I can distribute them to somebody else. And I'm like, why am I going to do that fucking work for them? You know, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if all you want is $1 a piece. They're $3 games. I'm not going to give you that. I'll give you $2 for all of them. I'll hit them with just the lowest low ball. And then if they'll take it, I'll take it. If not, I don't care. Keep them. Sell them to somebody else. But
this is advice for ourselves 10 years ago. So that means I've made this mistake.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Because thankfully I've eBayed enough where I'm able, and and I'll take shit to swap meets and used game tradings and shit like that, and I'll be able to dump off some of this crap. But don't buy shit that you don't want. Just great advice you gave in your last podcast, not the last one, but the one before that when you guys were talking about this. Instead of buying $10 shitty games, buy that $100 game that you actually really want. If you want Castlevania Symphony of the Night and you're like, oh, this game is $70 fucking $80, but yet you're buying 10 shitty fucking games, don't buy it. Just wait and save your money. Or if you can't save your money, have someone hold it for you, or I don't know. Yeah. Figure out a way to save the damn money and buy the game that you want.
He had a second question, which was, what advice would you give a new collector today? And I think we kind of already answered that.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
Other than, still, I guess, start 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That part counts too.
Well, don't. Move on with your life. Invest it in just CDs.
Collect the stuff you actually want, right?
And the thing is, truthfully, like, even though I'm not an emulator guy and I don't really, but if you don't really have a physical or emotional, or if you don't have not physical, but if you don't have an emotional connection to physical items, then fucking get the emulator. Then play the fucking
NES Mini or whatever the hell else.
NES Mini, whatever. That's just an emulator machine. Go on. There's easy YouTube videos that'll show you how to put every game on it. Just do it then. If you don't really care, if this stuff doesn't have an emotional connection to you, if you're not a investment collector, like looking to retire, and if you're doing that, you're doing it wrong, because there's better investments, but especially now. But if you're, just don't do it. Just fucking emulate it if you don't really care. Because how many new collectors have you ever seen that they get into it and they're buying up a storm? Even though he's my friend, Donkey Puncher. I mean, I remember watching him go from like 20 games to like 600 and something in like 6 months of NES games, and then I watched him sell everything because I don't,
J-Rock kind of did the same thing.
He needed money, or why am I doing this? You know what I mean?
Or saw how far away the end was and thought, okay, I'm not doing a full set anymore, and then started selling off the stuff he didn't care about. Madden.
I've seen so many. I could list probably 50 collectors on Instagram and Twitter, maybe even 100 that I've seen over the last, especially in 2013 to 2014. I remember it was almost like losing a collector every month. Like, oh, he's selling all this shit.
Yeah. Bye.
It's like real life kicks in.
Yeah. Bye, Felicia. See ya.
Right.
Yeah.
And hey, I'll buy it for half price.
All right. Last question from Canadian_retro. How do you value games that you're going to sell locally? Market price or lower, or by how much? I think you kind of had a rule on this, didn't you, Chris? Like,
okay. What'd you say? How I sell a game locally?
How do you price games for local sales?
Well, I mean, I think the fair thing is to initially knock off the 12.5%, 13% eBay kind of fees. If you're not shipping, if it's to your benefit. Also check your local market, man. I mean, if the local market is still selling it for that price and it's selling, then sell it for that price. If you're looking to cut someone a deal, then what's your investment to? I mean, there's a lot of variables. If you invested a certain amount, obviously you need to make sure you make your money back. And if you're looking to make a profit, what does that what's your goal? And if you don't mind taking less, if you like Johnny talking about just flipping stuff quicker, and I'm all for turn and burn. You know what I mean? If you could flip it fast, especially if it's things that aren't super rare and expensive, and if you can sell it quicker and you're hooking somebody up and building a new connection with somebody else, go ahead. But if you're selling it to just like an anonymous stranger, find out whatever the market is in your local market, like Kijiji or Offer Up or Let Go or Craigslist or whatever, and sell it there and find out what people are selling it for. Here's the other thing. Find out what the price is. Okay, if the price is selling for $50, right? And you put it up for $50 and a couple of weeks have gone by and it hasn't sold, it's probably not going to sell. So adjust your price. I mean, depending on how fast you want it gone. If you're patient and you're like, well, okay, I got a month to do this, well, then lower the price a little bit.
Knowing him, he's probably thinking for Barry Game Exchange, so add a game swap, basically. I think what happens with him is he often goes to the Game Exchange, and then he has the resellers coming over to him and asking to buy at his prices because he's got things that they want to resell and mark up.
Well, I mean, I don't know how he feels about that. If he doesn't mind seeing someone buy the game from him and go 2 tables over and sell it for more. He usually just tells them no.
He just tells them no, I don't sell it before the doors open. He'd rather an individual get a deal than the reseller pick it up and resell it at that same show, right?
You know what? That's very noble of him. But at the end of the day, if you're looking to get that kind of money out of it, then is saving you time. Now you can go shop at the convention. I don't know. To me, it doesn't make a difference. I get the principle of it, but if you said I want $40 for this item, and this guy's handing you $40. I don't know what's the difference. If you're trying to hook somebody up, then that I get it. But I mean, what if that next person doesn't want to give you the $40 and now this other guy doesn't want to give it to you now, and you just lost the sale? I don't know. They just sell it and take the emotion out of it. Don't be emotional about it, man. Like, to me, people get so emotional. They put their pride and ego and feelings in it. It's fucking business. I mean, I'm not trying to be like mafia hitman here, but it's just business.
I at local stores, at local shows, I try to 15 to 20% off market if I can afford that price, because then that usually means my stuff is moving faster.
You've always
that goes back to your equity thing too.
I mean, well, Chris, I try to give you an even better price, but I've told you I forget what it was. I told you, I'm like, I can do it for this. Like, I think it was like a Mario. I gave you like a fair price on a Mario. I'm like, it's Mario at a convention. I can just move this for so much more. So if you want my fair price, it's like $5 or whatever I told you for.
Whatever it was. And I was like, I didn't care. I was just, I was going to buy it and you were going to sell it. And we did it. There was no expectation. Matter of fact, that might've been the first one I bought from you. We knew each other probably 10 minutes. I just mentioned Kat and John. And you're like, oh yeah. And you were super busy. And I felt like I was bothering you. And it's like, here's this stupid Mario Kart, and then I'm trying to buy off of them. No, who cares? Like,
I'm at those conventions not just to make money. Like, I like to turn stuff over fast. I mean,
I want to talk to people. I think you kind of early. Yeah.
No, but that to me is fine. Like, if I can give you a deal, if I can give a friend a deal, but that's cool. But for general populace, like 15, 20%, I just want shit off my table, especially because my stuff is just stuff I'm bringing home. This is not my job. I don't even want it to be my side thing that I do. If I can not sell games, then great. If I can afford to buy games and not sell games, perfect. Because I mean, as we've talked about, I put a big stress on what my time is worth. Because I got a lot of things I enjoy and a lot of people I enjoy, and it's hard to make time for all of them. So if I can just get shit off my table, that's my goal. That means I'm making money, right? I'm not losing money. That means that's money I'm making. Every dime I take back from any of those conventions, it doesn't go anywhere else but back into the collection or into the podcast. Like, I buy equipment. Sometimes I'm like, I'll pay for a year of SoundCloud since I made this. I'll just toss it over here. It all goes back into video games, and it stays within the community too. So I just roll that money over. Like, I would love to take the money I make at conventions and then instantly just walk around at the end of Sunday and give people money that I just made, and then they can take my money home. I didn't take any shit home except for the new stuff I bought, and then I feel great.
That's actually what I've done at everything I've sold at. Every single fucking dollar that I made, I just turned around and bought shit. So I just, but you know what? I mean, one thing I said earlier about the emotion though, if it does give you an emotional boost to help somebody, then go ahead. If it makes you better, go for it. I just meant like, don't get angry about it. You know what I mean? Like, if it makes you happy, but don't let somebody else rolling it make you feel bad. If you don't care, don't get upset about it. But if it makes you happy to wait and sell to that other person, then go ahead. But just keep in mind that person might come and try to haggle you down.
Yeah.
And they might not pay that price, and that other guy would have. And now you're going back like, hey, do you still want it at that? Now he's got the leverage, and he might try to exploit it.
Yeah. If you come up to me and I'm okay selling it to you for $20, after I take your $20 bill, I don't care what happened to that thing. It's your thing. Go do whatever you want with it. Like you got 40 for it, great. I got the 20 I wanted, so I feel fine. Yeah, right. I got what I asked for. So
the only part
they were also haggling too. I think a lot of the resellers will come over to you and do a bundle deal. So they'll buy like all your games at a price, let's say 5 games, $5 each, and they want to buy it for $15 instead of $25, right?
Say no. Then that's different. If you're not willing to take it, then say no.
Yeah.
I mean,
but if you get your price, if you name a price that
that's what you wanted.
Like, oh man, but they're going to sell it for more. You don't get you can't let FOMO rule you in those situations. You know what you put into it. You know what you're getting out of it. So if you're okay with that price, once it's gone from your table, you just have to have no memory of it. It's just gone.
And then the guy may be marking it up so much that it just sits on his table for the day.
Yeah.
And he needs to take it to the next 5 shows before he sells it for that price.
Cool. Enjoy your luggage.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. All right. Next section is our suggested content. This is where you suggest a podcast, movie, TV show, YouTube channel, video, or anything else you want the viewers to check out for whatever reason. First thing that I have was actually referring back to when Johnny was talking about false memory and eyewitness statements. So I actually have a video that I thought of while you were talking about it that I had watched years ago from Brian Brushwood, who's a magic performer. He had a talk on this called Scams, Sasquatch, and the Supernatural, and this is part 5. It's a 10-minute video that explains how bad eyewitness testimony actually is. So if you ever need to explain it to someone again, Johnny, this video might be good for you.
Oh, excellent.
So 10-minute video explains it perfectly, and it's actually fun to do. He's a great entertainer. I've actually played video games with that guy before. He's awesome.
Awesome.
Cool. Humans who make my other recommendation, which was my actual recommendation, is a podcast called Humans Who Make Games. Humans Who Make Games with Adam Conover, made famous by the Adam Ruins Everything YouTube series and TV show. So I love that the way he does his TV show, and in his podcast he's I don't know, he's not quite the same person but he's not playing a role anymore, but it's a neat podcast where he interviews developers of video games and talks about the games. I've only listened to the first one so far, which was the developer of Super Meat Boy and what else did he develop? I can't remember now. Anyway, so yeah, that podcast. I'll repeat the name just because I finished describing it. Humans Who Make Games. Anyway, Chris, you're next.
I watched this recently on Netflix, and I guess they're really doubling down on the serial killer themes. It seems like a big genre for them, but the Ted Bundy tapes, it's really good. It's I believe it was 4 episodes. It's some guys who were initially working on a book, and they were able to get access to Ted Bundy when he was in custody. And it does kind of goes over his crimes, and it uses a lot of archive footage and everything, and thought it was pretty well put together. And I actually had a website, a YouTube channel, and I thought you were going to talk a little bit longer, and
I can continue logging. So the video game developer I was talking about made Super Meat Boy, Binding of Isaac, and The End Is Nigh, and Gish. Now you're
Travis. Okay, I think it's Travis Play Games, or did he name it?
Travis Plays Games. His
YouTube channel, and I've been enjoying his videos.
NES Friend.
NES Friend. Thank you. And I was right on the cusp of saying it too. I couldn't remember it. Anyways, he's doing these NES reviews. They're really good. What's the deal with? I think he calls them.
Yeah. Wow. That's right.
Is that right? Good, because that's what I thought it was. All right. It's really good. Just check it out. I like his take on it. He's we've all seen NES reviews and everything, and most of us already know about it. But they're good little time killers. They're short.
He recently just had a baby too.
He did. Help his channel out. Throw him a sub. give him some views so he can get that that big eBay money. I mean, not eBay, that big YouTube money.
YouTube money.
Yeah.
All right, Johnny, you got any recommendations for everybody?
Sure. TV show I just watched Russian Doll on Netflix. It's about time loops. I enjoyed that. So if you're into that kind of stuff, I love anything that deals with time. You've seen a theme here is how much I enjoy the idea of how people interact with time in general and how they value it. So I like that show. YouTube channel. I like theme parks. My wife and I both like theme parks, specifically like Disneyland is our favorite. We're not like necessarily roller coaster people. I love them, but like I like atmosphere. So there's a really interesting one like about the history of like some of the Disney attractions. You can watch Defunct Land and Yesterworld. Those are YouTube channels, so you can check those out. They have a podcast, but their podcasts are way like you want this for the video content. So go ahead and check those out. And since we talked about his question, VG Collectaholic, you might as well check out the Masters of Unlocking podcast. So that's his podcast. Check that out.
For sure.
So,
all right,
yeah,
cool. Defunct Land, and what was the other one?
Yesterworld.
Yeah, so I knew of Defunct Land, but...
Yeah, Yesterworld is kind of like, it's very similar content. But yeah, so I liked both of those. My wife and I, like, we're stuck on the couch a lot right now. So,
yep.
I mean, and this isn't like, it's hard to recommend like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, not because it's not a great show. I love it a lot, but like you should probably already heard of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So, but it's bad.
Yeah, didn't they just lose a big character recently? I kept seeing all like no spoiler alert. I don't know the person's name. Thing. But I was seeing all like these.
Someone dies sometime.
I don't know if he died or what, but it was just all this. Like there was a mourning on Twitter about this particular character that was gone. It was like, sucks.
Yeah, no, I
this Game of Thrones, buddy. It happens once a week, so I don't. You know.
You don't get emotionally. Like if you like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, then you should just check like Parks and Rec, same guy. You know, The Good Place, same guy. Like those shows are just fantastic. So, and it's like the same, same actors and stuff. So if you enjoy that brand of comedy, you can see it through a different lens in each one of these shows. So anyways, okay. Like I said, that's not like, oh man, did you just recommend something on NBC? Cool. Very niche.
Hey, I recommended the NFL playoffs last week. So.
Yeah.
Well, playoff.
They need our views.
The championship games far better than the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Super Bowl a little bit.
They were 2 overtime games, shootouts, man.
It was like the best playoff. Like those were the best championships games I've seen
since
like the 90s.
Ever. Yeah, it's been a very long time, and especially both of them being so good. I mean, that was you don't see that. Sometimes one's really good and the other one's okay, or usually one's not so good. But man, that was excellent.
Remember, there was like a decade where the NFC Championship game was the game to watch. Like, who cares?
Yeah. That was who the
like,
Super Bowl winner was going to be, too.
Yeah, too. Yeah, that was like 90, I think like 90 through like almost 2005 or something. It was like that. If you're into that.
And
Sports.
Yeah, sports ball.
And just in case you wanted to know, LeBron scored a triple-double tonight. And,
damn it. I'm going to watch that game later, Chris.
Are you? Okay. Yeah. Well, I won't say who won then.
Yeah, don't. They're playing the Celtics. I don't want to hear.
Okay. Well, he has a triple-double. So there you go.
Don't fuck
I already said it.
Chris, shut up. Shut your mouth, man. Like,
and you're also dating our podcast. You're saying this was recorded on this day.
That's fine.
All right. Well, we're done. Plugs. Johnny.
Yep.
Thank you, Johnny, for being on. You can find Johnny at Johnny Iucci. Jonn. Oh, I screwed that up. JOHNNY IUCCI on Twitter or Instagram, mainly Instagram. You can also hear him as one of the hosts of the Collector Quest podcast. Chris is at CWR2. That's CWR and the number 2 on Twitter and Instagram. I am Derek of Two Dorks, TWO Dorks. Check out the Cartridge Club, cartridgeclub.org, community of gamers, content creators, and collectors, and the way that I met Chris. Thank you guys for being on.
Thanks for having me, guys. Sorry I ran your podcast up so long.
Nope, it's all Chris's
I
fault.
see. Now it makes me feel bad because I'm gonna go back to my guys and be like, "You guys are really dragging this podcast out," and now I realize it might be me.
No, I blame Chris entirely. It's fine.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna blame
Or
Chris.
thank him.
Damn it,
I think
Chris.
Chris sometimes.
Yeah, well, break it up into 3 podcasts.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they really want that feature. Like, what will they talk about next?
Right.
Where's your break point? Where's the suspense? Like, how are you gonna cliffhang it?
Yeah, we'll just start mid-sentence and cliffhanger.
Right.
All right, cha-ching.
All right. So, I only ask that you don't ask me to stand up during this podcast.
We don't
Not
do
because
that.
I'm ashamed of my lower half, but my son pissed on me, so I pulled off my pants, and I'm just chilling in my underwear. So, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, that may be our bonus at the end of the podcast, though. Just that little audio clip.
That's fine.
Okay.
I admit to far worse on my podcast on a fairly regular basis.
That'd be good if case ever want to like fuck with Derek and take out audio and.
It's fucking treacherous to edit.
Oh no! I meant like with the saved files, go back through and then like link a bunch of words together, like
that didn't go together.
Yeah.
Right, like have him say that he likes to wear women's panties or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Get it? I'll lead him into words.
That's okay.
and
You
I'll-
just said it, and I've got it recorded. So
Right.
that's all that matters.
No, I said you did, not me.
But now it's a quick patch to get you there.
That's easy. That's easy. Yeah, just I.
And that and like 2 more beers.
Yeah.
That's the word on the street.
Nah, I'm too lazy. I want to wear women's panties.